This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
A morning shower or two and 17 today with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience. With 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
A northern suburbs house has been targeted with Molotov cocktails. 2 were thrown onto the roof of the Davern Park property shortly before 8 last night. They didn't explode. No one at the Birdsmore Road address was hurt. The male suspect did a runner on foot. Investigations are continuing. A chartered flight from India will touch down in Adelaide today with 150 Australians on board. The passengers will be taken to the Pullman Medi Hotel, where they'll quarantine for 14 days and undergo daily COVID testing. It's the first flight into SA from India since the nationwide pause last month. Premier Stephen Marshall says extra precautions have been put in place to prevent transmission.
We have made changes to the way that we operate with this particular flight because we are doing extensive testing and isolation in India before the flight. This is extraordinarily important so that we can mitigate against the risk, which is this variant of concern.
The federal government is backing a plan to build a purpose-built COVID quarantine facility in Victoria. It's handed the state government a memorandum of understanding for the project. The Morrison government is understood to prefer the site next to Avalon Airport and is keen to make the announcement today. Well, regional Victoria is out of lockdown this morning. Nine's Christina Hearn is in Geelong.
As of midnight, the 5 reasons to leave your home in regional Victoria has been scrapped. Hospitality can open up once again, but only for seated customers and with capacity limits. Gyms are still closed. Face masks still have to be worn indoors and you aren't allowed visitors in your home. This time there's no ring of steel around the city. Instead, police will be relying on roving patrols. Businesses are also being asked to check the ID of customers to make sure they're not illegally from Melbourne, something which has frustrated some owners who don't believe they should be doing the job of police.
States and territories will be asked to cover half the cost of new COVID measures designed to help in a prolonged lockdown at today's National Cabinet meeting. Residents in an area declared a hotspot by the Commonwealth and locked down for more than 7 days will soon be able to apply for a special payment. A US airline is set to bring back supersonic travel. Nine's Brian Wilson has the story.
It's almost 2 decades since Concorde's last passenger flight, but the supersonic era is set to return, with US airline United signing a deal with Boom Aero for up to 35 zero-emission aircraft that will fly at almost twice the speed of sound. The plane has a range equivalent to flying from Melbourne to Hong Kong in a journey time of around 4 hours. The luxury 60-seat passenger jet will take to the skies in 2026 and will be halving the flight time on many of United's premium routes by 2029.
The Bidens are heading to the UK. The royal family has announced the Queen will meet the US President and First Lady at Windsor Castle on the 13th of June. Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Transform your 12-volt and camping setup with kick-ass products from australiandirect.com.au.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with some soccer, and Adelaide United has qualified for the A-League finals. That's following a hard-fought 2-2 draw against the Western Sydney Wanderers. The Reds trailed 2-1 but found the all-important equaliser early in the second half thanks to Craig Goodwin. The Reds, though, will now have to do it the hard way in the finals, finishing 6th, meaning they'll get no more home matches. Meantime, the Socceroos are on track for a big win against Kuwait in their World Cup qualifier, currently leading 3-0 with about 20 minutes to play. To football, and the Crows have brought in Ronan O'Connor for tomorrow's clash against Collingwood. Sam Berry will miss through concussion, while Luke Brown is still in some doubt with Achilles soreness. To tennis, and Ash Barty's been forced to retire from the French Open because of her hip injury. The pain all too much for the world number 1 in the second set.
I think that's going to be it, unfortunately, for Ash Barty. What a disappointment for Ash and all of her fans. Terrific clay court season comes to an end for the world number 1. We wish her all the best and hope she gets better.
Audio there thanks to Channel 9. It was a horror night for the Aussies. Astra Sharma also losing, as did Alex de Minaur and James Duckworth on the men's side. And there was one game in the NBL last night with the Sydney Kings 6-point winners over Illawarra. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
17 today with a morning shower or two. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 17. Sunday, much the same, 19. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Buy 3, get 1 free on top tyre brands. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to a Friday on 5AA Breakfast. It is the 4th of June. It is cool. A lot of rain coming next week. A little drizzle around the place this morning. Lots on the way on the program today. Port fans, Orazio Fantasia will join us after 8 o'clock, heading into the bye in 5th spot. Content? Well, work to do. We'll have a chat with him about that a little bit later in the morning. Also coming up on 5AA Breakfast today, Ian Thorpe, one of Australia's greatest Olympians. Certainly, perhaps our greatest swimmer, will be on the program after 7 o'clock today. Brand new documentary coming out by Amazon that takes you behind the scenes. What's it like to be a swimmer in the build-up? What's it like to be a swimmer going to your last Olympics? What's it like when it's all over? Really revealing documentary by Amazon. They do a wonderful job on this kind of stuff. Ian Thorpe will take us through it after 7 o'clock. Phil Curry in the nation's capital. And also, David, a chat I know you're very, very, very looking forward to. Julia Zamiro will be on the program before 7 o'clock this morning to talk about Australia's biggest sing-along program that's going to be on this Saturday, June 5th, Saturday night, tomorrow night. Get around the box and just sing to your heart's content. I know you'll be doing it. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. The song that played us in there, Spirit in the Sky, was, of course, sung by Metallica. No, it wasn't. I don't know. I'm still kicking myself about yesterday.
What happened yesterday?
When Andy did his top 5 and California Dreaming, and I just went, oh, yeah, Mamas and the Papas. It wasn't the Mamas and the Papas. It was Norman Greenbaum. Now, there should be a word. In fact, I think there is a word in Japanese for the unnerving fear that you're about to be subjected to a John Blake sketch.
Oh, you think it's coming, do you?
Yeah. What would the word be in Japanese? Let's have a bit of a think about it. Andy tricked me there. Norman Greenbaum did Spirit in the Sky. Scott McKenzie did San Francisco.
Oh, my word. It's
What
happened
about
again.
that?
It's happened again.
See, he's just a smart aleck, isn't he?
He set you up to fail.
Blake is, and that'll be 2 in a row. First Pinaroo.
I don't think you do 2 in a row.
Oh, no, he's a cruel man.
Okay, all right. Have you got some heads up or warning?
No, I just got a sense.
I know nothing as of yet.
I've got a fear. Do you know?
No, I know nothing. I wouldn't have a clue. Music is on our mind this morning, however. The meat tray, thanks to Tony and Joe from Gauchos. How's this? Try Gauchos at home with chimichurri sauce for steaks and Diablo sauce for seafood lovers, all at Foodlands. Hailed as Australia's pioneering Argentinian restaurants. Eat at Gauchos, 91 Goodger Street in the city. This is going to be something else. This meat tray. But we're asking you, inspired by the Julia Zamiro program that's on Saturday night, Australia's biggest sing-along, what's your go-to karaoke song? If pressed to perform, what would your go-to song be?
Do you do karaoke?
No. I can
Have
tell
you ever
why.
done it?
Yes, but I find the whole idea of singing in front of people totally traumatic. I had to do it being in drama schools and auditioning for things in the past.
Did you ever do your school musicals?
We never did a musical. No, I never did a musical. But when you go to audition for schools and academies and things like this, they'll always have a musical component, and it traumatised me as a teenager because I just liked acting. I didn't like the musical component. I had no interest whatsoever in it.
When you did your Fringe show, there was no singing in that.
No, that was just monologue.
Yeah, right.
This is so. Honestly, it traumatised me, and the very idea of singing in front of anyone, just drive a nail through my big toe.
Yeah, but if you've been to karaoke, you'll realise that the rule seems to be singing in front of people after you've had 10 drinks.
But this is a meat tray very much for a group of people that they adore the microphone.
Yeah.
They love the crowd, the music. They are people like you, David Penberthy. You are the most enthusiastic karaoke performer I've ever seen.
I do enjoy it. The weird thing, I always thought karaoke was kind of dumb. Because it sort of started in Australia in the probably 80s, late 80s, maybe even a bit later, maybe even the early 90s. And the first karaoke bar in Adelaide, and it's still there, was Last Sing, down the western end of Goodger Street. And it's just the perfect dive, that place. It's got the ultimate karaoke vibe, open till all hours. Bit of a wild scene there, Friday night, Saturday nights, it gets packed. But when I'd only just started at the Tizer, and the then editor, Peter Blunden, called me in and said, hey, mate, and it was when John Olsen was the trade minister in the Olsen government, in the Brown government. And he said, we've set up this cultural exchange program with an Indonesian newspaper, and we'd like you to be the first guy to do it. So I got sent to Jakarta for 3 months. And then when I came back, this really nice bloke called Agus Diatmika, who's an Indonesian, he came back and he spent 3 months working at the Tizer. And it was to foster greater understanding between Australia and Indonesia. It was great fun. Jakarta, excellent place to live, absolutely mental city. But so the first week I'm there working with all these Indonesian journos, by way of a welcome, these blokes said to me, "Oh, hey, Dave, tonight, do you want to come along with us to karaoke?" And I went, "What?" They said, "Yeah, we go every Thursday. Sometimes we go Fridays too." And it's like their equivalent of pub night. And these are just men, just all guys like the motoring editor, a couple of the political journos. So we ended up at this place. It was called Penthouse Karaoke on Jalan Mangga Besar, Big Mango Street, this sort of Hindley Street equivalent of Jakarta. And I'm just sitting there thinking, this is the weirdest thing ever. I'd never done it before. And one of them, this little guy called Donnie, started whacking me. He's going, "Come on, David, you have to sing, you have to sing. Full action, he kept saying." So I did, and he said, "You're Australian." He said, "You have to do Bee Gees or Air Supply, because they're Australian." He said, "You do All Out of Love." And I went, "Oh, yeah, I know that song." I did it, and I started singing it, and I thought, this is awesome. This is so much fun. And we're in this private room, and there's bintangs flowing. We had a fruit platter.
Beautiful.
Great night.
All right, well, let's hand it over to the listeners. Meat tray on the line, thanks to Gauchos. What a special meat tray. This might be our first restaurant-inspired meat tray.
No, we did one with, we've done one before with another iconic steakhouse, Barbecue Inn.
Oh, we did too. Of course we did.
We did one with Martin at the Barbecue Inn.
But,
I mean, Gauchos has been a fixture in Adelaide since the 80s.
All right, Ange, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Mate, when me and my then girlfriend started dating, I thought we'd go to a karaoke bar, and the song that we sang was "Don't Go Breaking My Heart," and it's only our third date. So we both did a duet, married now, 3 beautiful kids, 20 years together. You know, it's always good to have a couple of drinks, relax. It is amazing time to let a bit of stress out and pressure out.
Hey, you are speaking my language. Kate and I, often when we have the rare occasion, like probably once every 6 weeks, we'd have a date night, get the kids' babysat. We often go to karaoke after dinner in town, and we love it. Just the two of us get a private room.
That's it, and you don't have to worry about embarrassing yourself. I mean, you're going to embarrass yourself anyway, let's be honest, unless you're one of those people that go around to all the bars and looking towards the money of it. But it's really good fun. Like, it is really good fun.
Good on you, Ange.
Thanks, Ange.
Let's go to Ian in Two Wells. Morning, Ian.
Morning, boys. How are you?
Good, thanks, Ian.
That word or Japanese word you're looking for might be Tora, Tora, Tora.
Excellent, mate. I'll pass that on to Blakey when he slots me. Good on you.
My favourite song for karaoke is That's Amore by Dean Martin.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
When the moon hits your eye.
You could sing it at a moment's notice, Ian, that one. How many times have you done it?
Oh, hundreds.
Hundreds? Would you give us a few bars if I had the karaoke version on me right now?
Yes, I would.
All right.
I'm gonna hit you up the big pizza bar. Samore.
Yes, Ian! That is tremendous, mate. Thank you.
What about that?
That was excellent.
Ian, the crooner of Two Wells.
Magnificent work. Good on you, Ian. Let's go to Nan. Mark, good morning.
Boys, how are we?
Good, thanks, Mark.
Good. My go-to karaoke is, without a doubt, Meatloaf's Paradise by the Dashboard Lights.
Oh, really?
That'd be hard.
I'd offer to sing it for you, but I probably wouldn't do as bad a job as Meat did at the grand final a few years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the show only goes for two and 3/4 hours from here on in, Mark.
He has suffered enough. Thank you, Mark. 8223 0000 the number. Or you can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Let us know your go-to karaoke song, and you could win the wonderful meat tray, thanks to the brothers Tony and Joe from Gaucho's, one of the iconic restaurants here in Adelaide. I reckon our mate in Two Wells is going to take some beating this morning. That is what they call a cracking pace early for the meat tray. News headlines are coming up in just a moment.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey, whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny, whether next door means a few feet or a few miles, we know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries' end of financial year sale. Built to last.
Coming down for the footy this weekend? Or perhaps heading into Adelaide for that long overdue shopping trip? At SA Weekend Escapes, let us tempt you with a short stay in the city. Find the best things to see and do, and don't cover our latest offers at Adelaide hotels. Plus, book your next Adelaide trip with one of 10 SA hotels this winter, and you'll receive a complimentary bottle of Penfolds Red to warm up your stay. Visit saweekendescapes.com.au to find out more. Holiday here this year.
Here at FIVEaa, we're all about supporting local. Holiday here this year and choose great South Australian hotels. Find things to do, places to see, and our latest hotel offers at saweekendescapes.com.au.
You all set for retirement, mate?
Yeah. My sis will look after me.
Claire, did you win the lotto?
Not my sister. My CBUS super income stream. Sis.
Right.
With as little as $80,000 super, SIS works with the pension to provide a steady paycheck even after you retire. CBUS, for all of us. To consider if CBUS is right for you, go to cbussuper.com.au for a PDS.
For over 2 decades, Avanti Care have delivered care with purpose to thousands of South Australians. And now we're thrilled to announce the opening of our new wellbeing hub on Fullerton Road, Kent Town. Like everything we do at Avanti Care, our wellbeing hub has real purpose, delivering a full range of healthcare services in one location, including physio, occupational therapy, speech pathology, dietetics and podiatry. For more on our wellbeing hub, visit avanticare.com.au.
The Snooze End of Financial Year sale is now on. Save up to 50% off mattresses and up to 40% off bed frames. And this week only, take an extra 10% off all mattresses. Hurry, sale now on. Exclusions, T's and C's apply.
Amazing what a little snooze can do.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
18 minutes after 6. A few days ago, we discovered Luke, the man who knows more about servos in Australia than anyone else, and crowned him our resident servo reviewer. Well, he sent through a review for us. He says, "Happy Friday, everyone. The best start of the day, Piangle Caltex. Best bacon and egg roll on the road and restocked, also restocked on locally grown pistachios." We had to look it up. Piangle in the northern Mallee in Victoria, just about 50 k's out of Swan Hill.
Yeah,
in case you're ever driving through the area.
Yeah, well, I reckon everyone in South Australia who's done that drive would have gone through Piangle because it's
Which drive? To where?
Back to Adelaide, where you turn left, so you sort of roughly follow the river along Swan Hill. You go through Nyah.
Yeah.
Is that how it's pronounced? Nyah. Nyah. Then you go through Woodwood. And just before you get to Tooleybuck, you turn left at Piangle, because that takes you through to Menangatang and Uyen, and then you hit the border. Not far after that.
Now you know the secret.
Yeah,
Pistachios and the best bacon and egg roll on the road. Thank you, Luke. Keep them coming in every week. We need survey reviews from right around the country. Let's get to some news from right around the country on this Friday morning. A repatriation flight from New Delhi with 150 Australians on board will land in South Australia today. It's the first direct flight from India to our state since a travel ban ended last month. Here is Premier Stephen Marshall.
I'm absolutely guaranteed that we've done everything we possibly can ahead of the flight and then also when people arrive on that flight. Daily saliva testing, PCR testing on day 1, day 5, day 9 and day 13.
The federal government is going to announce today too that they're spending $400 million on setting up a purpose-built quarantine facility in Victoria.
500 beds.
Yeah, so...
You know what? There's a lot of not a moment too soon happening in the world of public policy as it pertains to coronavirus.
Yeah.
I mean, that might have been a good idea about 6 months ago, building something like that.
I know.
As would have this. And this goes to every Victorian that feels as though that they've just been the victim of the world's worst luck. Using a QR code to enter a shop or business is now mandatory in Victoria.
Yeah, yeah.
Just happened. Now.
They've only made it compulsory
After their fourth outbreak.
It's crazy, isn't it?
The 15-minute threshhold has been lifted, meaning everyone must check in either on a smartphone or with a pen and paper. I mean, it's extraordinary to think. We've been doing this without outbreaks, seeming forever.
Well, only a month ago, they still had 2 different apps.
Yeah.
They also had some pen and paper system with a form, which we've got here purely as a stopgap for people without mobiles.
Well, a lot of businesses had their own QR code format, so you'd look at it with your camera, and it would take you to their own purpose-built process.
But they only brought in a universal system last Friday, and they only made it compulsory yesterday.
It's extraordinary. States and territories will be asked to stump for half the cost of new COVID measures in the event of a prolonged lockdown. Residents in an area declared a hotspot by the Commonwealth and locked down for more than 7 days will soon also be able to apply for a special payment. It's one of several issues to be canvassed by National Cabinet today. There's been an attempted firebombing at Davern Park. Police and fire crews were called to a house on Birdsmore Road just before 8 p.m. yesterday after a man allegedly threw 2 Molotov cocktails on the roof and then ran off. The items didn't explode, thankfully, and also no one was injured. US President Joe Biden will meet face-to-face with the Queen next weekend as he embarks on his first overseas trip since being elected. Australia's grains industry is continuing to feed India as the two countries strengthen their trade relationship. Despite an India-Australia grains partnership being signed off last year, there are tariffs on some pulses and barriers on malt barley due to weed seed thresholds.
You know what we need? We need to get some sort of ad made, Virat Kohli holding a glass of Penfolds Red and just going, this is superb, and get 2 billion people to watch that on their TVs in India.
It's slowly happening. The relationship between Australia and India is growing increasingly quickly as a result of both countries falling out with China.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, a defence relationship has never been closer than it is right now.
Isn't part of the challenge there that most Indians don't drink?
That would be, it'd be an issue for our wine industry, yes.
What about the day that India played...
was better.
Remember when India played Pakistan in the World Cup at the Adelaide Oval? Not long after the Oval was redone, they ran out of Gatorade.
That's right, yeah, because people went buying beers.
They sold like 8 beers, I think. Probably the journos were covering it.
After 5 days in lockdown, the 5 permitted reasons to leave home have been lifted in regional Victoria. Groups of up to 10 are allowed to gather outdoors. Restaurants, cafes, shops, beauty salons and entertainment venues are welcoming customers back with some density limits, which is good news for a part of the country that really
should never have been locked down
in
at
the first
all.
place.
380 people in Murrayville. All told, that's it. Not allowed out. Never had a case of coronavirus there, ever.
13.7 degrees outside at the moment. Top of 17 today. Potentially 3 mils of rain. I reckon we've already had a little bit of it. We'll check in with the Bureau shortly. 17 tomorrow and no rain, which is some good news for the football. Sunday, 19 atop. But the real headline is Monday through Wednesday next week. Up to 15 mils of rain Monday. Up to 20 on Tuesday. And then up to 5 on Wednesday. So it is going to be a seriously wet week next week. 24 after 6, Tom Wren with sport in a moment.
Adelaide Tools' massive Makita Bonus Blitz is now on. Get in quick for Adelaide's best deals on Makita. Get a bonus Makita 18-volt blower and 18-volt inflator. Plus, a bonus skin via redemption when you purchase selected Makita brushless combo kits. That's right, 3 massive Makita bonuses. Plus, get a bonus 5 amp-hour battery when you buy any 2 18-volt skins. There's also 20% off all Makita accessories and great deals on batteries and chargers too. Adelaide Tools, trusted brands, trusted service since 1949.
That feeling
It has united Porsche enthusiasts across Australia for 70 years. Join us to celebrate the history of Porsche and see the new Taycan at our open day, Saturday, June 5th, at all official Porsche centres.
Adelaide property values are at an all-time high. They grew by 5.9% in 2020 with really strong buyer demand. In some areas, demand is greater than supply. Vendors regularly getting multiple offers for homes with sold prices well above expectations.
Now, look, we know that our friends at Toop and Toop, like, geez, they know their stuff. We catch up with them every Monday. We love it. And they've got the whole city covered. They work across all suburbs. And we can tell you right now that Toop and Toop are working with 5,638 buyers in Malvern, 5,811 in Burnside, and 5,672 in Walkerville. And they're all searching for their perfect property in these specific locations.
I think people don't realise those stats are live too. So that's, at 6:25, there's 17,000 people they're currently working with.
And the suburbs change all the time as well.
By 9
They
o'clock,
got similar numbers working in Mile End and you name it.
By 9 o'clock, there'll be 200,000 buyers in those suburbs.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that's how it works. If you're thinking of selling and would like to know how many buyers Toop and Toop are working with in your suburb, we'll call 8362 8888 or go to toop.com.au.
It's the little things that make a big difference to your day, like a thank you email from a colleague or a smile from a stranger on the train. And it can all start here with a healthy, delicious breakfast made with the goodness of Aussie-made Pura milk. It's got 8 essential nutrients and vitamins to kickstart your morning and set you up for the day ahead. So start your day the positive way with Pura.
For more than 50 years, Southern Cross Care has provided quality aged care and retirement living services to our community. We understand that your needs are as individual as you are. We also understand that these needs may change over time, which is why we offer a wide range of services available when and where you need them, including health and wellness, home care, retirement living, residential care, along with respite and restorative care. Visit southerncrosscare.com.au.
A Great Australian Rail journey is beyond magical, it's beyond exciting, and it's beyond memorable. A journey by rail is, well, it's beyond words. The 2022 season is available now with Journey Beyond and Phil Hoffman Travel for iconic rail journeys aboard the GAN, Indian Pacific and Great Southern. Generous packages start from $1,665 per person twin share. Contact Phil Hoffman Travel, proudly South Australian and here for you. Visit pht.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Buy 3, get 1 free on top tyre brands. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 minutes after 6, time to talk sport with Tom Wren. Transform your 12-volt and camping setup with kick-ass products from australiandirect.com.au. Live in the 5AA Breakfast studio, live on the Facebook and YouTube live stream as well. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning to you, Will. Morning, David. Hey, for those waking up this morning, Will, I know you were watching it as well. The Socceroos, a great result, their World Cup qualifier.
Oh, it's just good to watch the Socceroos again.
18 months.
567 days since their last game.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yep.
Wow.
So good
Who'd
result.
they play? Was
Kuwait.
Q8. Was it a World Cup qualifier?
It was 39 degrees, I think. It was scorching conditions, and they won 3-0. Matty Leckie, former United player, scored, so that was good.
Is he still kicking around for the Socceroos?
Yep.
Yeah, he's only 29.
Yeah, he's going
Is
well.
he that young?
Yeah.
Oh, it feels like he's been there forever.
He's done well.
He scored in the first 60 seconds of this
it was
game.
Opening minute.
Yeah.
And that cements, it's funny to think, you've probably forgotten because it's been that long, but they're top of their group and that cements that spot. So that's a good result for the Socceroos. And speaking of United and Matthew Leckie, a good result last night, albeit a win would have been better, but they're through to the finals. It was a scratchy performance, but they did enough. They had a draw against Western Sydney. No more home games, though, that means.
Oh, geez, they needed the red card. They're lucky, Adelaide United.
They were. They snuck in.
They snuck in. It wasn't particularly convincing.
They won 2 of their last 10, so they need to turn it around. But, boys, the one thing as well I wanted to talk about this morning, Devon Conway, he's playing for New Zealand, South African born. It happens a lot in cricket. He's made 200 on debut at Lords for New Zealand against England. 6 players have made a double century in their first ever Test innings. He's now joined that illustrious group, 29 years of age. Just got me thinking, great debuts of all time.
Greg Blewett made a ton on debut.
He did make a ton on debut. Mark Waugh as well at Adelaide
Kepler
Oval.
Vessels made a ton on debut. I remember that as a kid.
Bob,
Who's made 200? Which Australians made 200 on debut?
I'm not sure we've got too many, but Tip Foster, in fact, I don't think we've got any. Tip Foster made 287 for England in 1903. He's got the record. Remember old Tip?
Yeah, old Tip.
Yeah.
He's a gun.
1903. What are they? It was when they rang a bell, and if you were in the nearest pub, you come and play Test cricket. Didn't you?
Bob Massey took
Game went for 9 days.
Bob Massey took 16 for 137 in 1972.
Yeah, that's solid.
For Australia. Ian Thorpe was a world champion on debut. I know you're talking to him later this morning at 15 years of age. Jonathan Brown didn't have a touch on debut, so it can work the other way. Andrew McLeod,
what did Warney go for on debut? Wasn't it 1 for 170 something?
Yeah, against India.
Yeah, that's right.
McLeod had 1 kick and 3 handballs on debut. Scotty Cummings kicked 8 goals on debut for Essendon.
That's not bad.
So there's some good ones that have been out there.
It's probably in some respects you're always more seasoned than when you're playing Test cricket, aren't you? By the time you've come in. Except if your country's really struggling, you've been around the first-class circuit for long enough that potentially, in Australia's been in this position before, you're playing at a level that's been probably as high or maybe even higher than what you're playing against when you go up to the next stage.
Yeah, it's a good call.
But footy's never going to be that. You're always going up to something that you are not prepared for. So the Scott Cummings one is great.
Yeah, 8 goals.
Tom, Port obviously have the bye. Crows, Pies, what's your tip?
I think the Crows will win comfortably.
It feels like it could be one of those games. I reckon if the Crows... Because Grundy's not playing, right?
No, he's not. He's gone. So
I reckon this could be such an ugly loss for Collingwood that it sparks some kind of ugly board coach level fallout for that club.
Having called the Port Collingwood game previously, a couple of weeks ago, all I'll say is warning everyone to go along. If it's not that, it'll be because Collingwood play the worst brand of football in the AFL. When they're in possession... minutes of your life will disappear as they kick it around in their defensive 50. You watch it ebb away and wonder about your life choices.
I might take a book.
Yeah,
a bit of light reading.
I'm not kidding.
Yeah, it's true.
They look like one of those dour sort of defensive Premier League teams of the 80s.
Yeah, right.
You know, when they say, if you want entertainment, go watch the Clowns. It's like, it's that level of absolute trite.
So they won't have a number done on them, is what you're saying?
Potentially not, because I just think it's the way they play. It's just garbage.
Yeah.
Good on you, Rennie.
Good stuff. Thanks fellas.
That was excellent. Transform your 12-volt and camping setup with kick-ass products from australiadirect.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A morning shower or two and 17 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
The Prime Minister has agreed to help bankroll a new state-run quarantine facility in Victoria. Scott Morrison has handed a memorandum of understanding to Acting Premier James Merlino. An announcement is expected today. It's likely to be built next to Avalon Airport. State Opposition Leader Peter Malinauskas says it's great to finally see the PM on board, given the damaging leaks from quarantine hotels.
He joins a growing list of epidemiologists, business leaders, the Australian Medical Association and other state premiers who want purpose-built quarantine. It appears the only person that doesn't is Stephen Marshall. We're hoping that Stephen Marshall will change his position so it's not just Victoria that gets a proper quarantine facility.
A Mercy flight from India with 150 Australians on board is set to fly into Adelaide today. All passengers will quarantine at the Pullman Hotel. They will undergo daily saliva screening and tests on days 1, 5, 9 and 13. It's the first direct flight to SA from India after the travel ban ended last month. State and territory leaders will be briefed on whether the COVID vaccine should be mandatory for aged care workers when they come together today. Nine's Michael Packy has more.
About 20% of aged care workers are known to have been vaccinated out of a total workforce of 360,000. Of the people who've had the COVID shot, it's mainly been at their nursing home. The Prime Minister, along with premiers and chief ministers, will today be briefed by medical officials as to whether it should be compulsory for all staff in the sector to be vaccinated and how such a measure is implemented. National Cabinet will also discuss the new COVID disaster payment for people who are locked down for more than a week.
The US is sending 25 million doses of coronavirus vaccines to countries in need. About 3/4 of the drugs will go to the international vaccination program COVAX, and the rest sent to regions who've asked for aid. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says with more than 40% of the US population vaccinated, it is simply the right thing to do.
We're in a position to help others, so we will help others. And as the President has said, the United States will not use its vaccines to secure favours from other countries.
An attempted firebombing north of the city is under investigation. 2 Molotov cocktails were hurled onto the roof of a Davern Park house just before 8 last night. They didn't explode. The male suspect fled on foot. A Victorian woman is the latest person charged by New South Wales Police over an email scam syndicate. Detectives have been investigating a multi-million-dollar scheme targeting companies across the country by altering invoices. The 25-year-old is the 18th person to be charged for their involvement. And 80s Olympian Florence Griffith-Joyner's life is coming to the big screen. Flo Jo was a superstar on the track, known for her flamboyant outfits and full makeup. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Transform your 12-volt and camping setup with kick-ass products from australiandirect.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide has brought in youngster Ronan O'Connor for tomorrow's clash against Collingwood, with Sam Berry out with concussion while Nick Murray has been dropped. He could still be a late inclusion, however, with some doubt on the fitness of fellow defender Luke Brown. Captain Rory Sloane told Rowie they're just happy to be playing the game at home.
It's going to be great for us to have our Indigenous around here. I know it means a lot, especially to our Indigenous fellas and our Indigenous supporters. And yeah, I mean, we're really thankful and grateful that we're being able to play here in the end.
Lachie Neale will return to bolster the Lions midfield in their top 4 clash against Melbourne at Giants Stadium tonight. Veteran defender Ryan Lester also returns from injury. The Socceroos have just completed a comprehensive 3-0 win against Kuwait in their World Cup qualifier. That result cements top spot for them in their group. And last night, Adelaide United qualified for the A-League finals after a 2-2 draw against the Western Sydney Wanderers. Australian Ash Barty's been forced to withdraw injured during her second-round match at the French Open. She suffered the left hip injury during practice. Barty says there have been tears during the week trying to get herself right at Roland Garros.
Yeah, it was a small miracle that we were able to get on court for that first round. And again, today it was no better and getting worse again. So it's something it's really disappointing.
There are no more Australians left in the singles draw after Alex de Minaur, James Duckworth and Astra Sharma were all knocked out. And the Brisbane Broncos' dismal seasons continued after being thumped 52-24 in the NRL by the St George Illawarra Dragons. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
17 today with a morning shower or 2. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 17. Sunday much the same, 19. Right now it's 14 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes to 7. Police and weather coming up very shortly. Then Julia Zamiro on the program that has inspired the meat tray this morning. Thanks to Tony and Joe from Gauchos. One night only this Saturday night. Australia's biggest sing-along. Let's call it the world's biggest sing-along. Why not? I bet no one else is doing it this Saturday night. We are asking you this morning about your go-to karaoke tune. 8223 or text us on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line. Let's first head to Henley Beach. Robert's got some thoughts for us. Morning to you, Robert.
Yes, good morning, guys. Look, I'm paradise by the dashboard light as well, but I actually rang to compliment David on his road selection back from Sydney over the Hay Plain, and just to correct him that it's actually one of my first ever jobs was the Swan Hill tourist officer back in the mid-'80s.
Yeah.
Don Dunson was the then tourism minister for Victoria, and I was a very lost Adelaide boy in Swan Hill, but the locals called it Naya. And I don't know if they've still got the trots out there, and Manangatang and Tulibak were all in my region, and I had it plastered all over my lovely car.
What's the best thing to do in Naya, Robert?
The trots, if they were on, yes.
Okay,
and the Manangatang races were pretty good.
All right.
And it's pronounced Oyen on the way home.
Oyen, that's right. Oyen. Okay.
Right.
And it's the sort of quickest way through from Sydney, isn't it, when you're heading back from Sydney? Yeah.
There's a really cool shared road. It used to be back in the 80s. Sort of, it was one lane, and you kind of gave way, but you kept going at 110. It was.
There's a lot of good golf in Swan Hill, isn't there, Robert?
Yeah, look, when I was there, the over the river, the Murray Downs Station golf course was actually being planned, but it's obviously in fully operation now, and a great place to be. And places like Robinvale and Murrayville, when you hear that they were all locked in and shut down, it's just nonsense. But there you go.
Totally.
Good on you, Robert.
Good on you, mate.
That was great, mate.
That's
Thank you for
excellent.
that.
Such a good part of the world.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Andrew in Prospect has a Meat Tray Friday entry. Andrew, what's your go-to karaoke tune?
I thought I'd been in love so many times. I thought I knew the score. But this time I've got it wrong. I can't love anymore. And this time I'm never gonna fall in love again.
Hey, Andrew. Oh, he's still going.
In love, I'm never gonna fall in love. That's the story of my life.
Oh, Andrew, that was sensational. That was great.
You could hear the emotion just oozing out.
What about the acoustics at Andrew's house?
Oh, yeah.
Or maybe workplace?
Was it the house or car?
Andrew, where were you singing?
In my car.
I thought you were in the car.
Oh, right. Jesus.
Is anyone next to you at the lights?
No, I'm on my way to work.
Hey, Andrew, what was the song?
I'm never going to fall in love again by Tom Jones.
Oh, Tom Jones. Okay.
Just put a bit of music to it. Come on.
We'll get Andy to dig some out.
Andrew,
we'll play the original, but it won't be as good as yours. That was heartfelt.
Hauntingly beautiful.
Never
All
gonna
right,
fall in
let's
love again.
How about
Tom
we do
Jones.
let's do some texts on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line.
We got a mountain of texts here. One here from Rob. Good morning, music lovers. My first karaoke was in Perth at a Chinese restaurant 3 days after arriving in Australia in 1989. One song I murdered was You've Lost That Loving Feeling by the Walker Brothers. P.S. My band in Scotland invented karaoke. Well, there's a claim.
Well,
in some classy pubs, the punters would want to sing on the mic, and at some point we just let them start, find out the chords, and they'd all be singing along. Good on you, Rob.
That's excellent. Then you afforded it a Japanese name, which is really
what about
a lot of foresight.
That's right. Exactly, not something in Scottish. Mark's got quite a eclectic musical taste. It's the big four for me: Dirty Old Town by the Pogues, Folsom Prison Blues, Johnny Cash, Blister in the Sun by the Violent Femmes, and then the big one, as he says, Like a Virgin by Madonna. What about that? Peter says, I'm not a good singer, but I can usually get away with the House of the Rising Sun. It's nice and slow, which makes it easier. That's part of the key of karaoke. Pick a song that's in your comfort zone.
In your range, as they say.
Don't go out there and think, I'm going to do,
hang on,
something with...
This is coming from the guy who does Wuthering Heights.
Kate Bush. Yeah, but I don't sing it in her key.
That has got an extreme range.
Sounds more like... Who's the Star Trek bloke who does the spoken word versions?
William Shatner.
William Shatner. Sharon says, good morning. Ring Ring by ABBA. Anything by ABBA. Also, Elton John, Bee Gees, Beatles, Tom Jones, Supremes, Roy Orbison. What about that? Bit to work with there.
It's 7:87. Let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Get a great deal on 3 years free scheduled servicing and executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
Good morning. Got wet roads today, so do take some extra care. Out around Stirling and Crafers, we're seeing reduced visibility due to the weather and rain. Mount Osborne on the freeway, up track, speed and lane restrictions apply for works there. At Parafield Main North Road, Kings McIntyre Road intersection, slow going this morning, speeds down to 40 k's. Look out for speed cameras this morning. Montague Road, Paraka, Nelson Road, Paravista and Smart Road at Modbury. Godfrey Stocktake sale is on now. Get up to 50% off a wide range of Hoover vacuums plus exclusive in-store clearance lines. Hurry into your local Godfrey store today. Conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey. Whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny. Whether next door means a few feet or a few miles. We know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
Dad and I are sleeping in the car again.
Since he lost this job and couldn't pay the rent, we've had to keep moving around to find a place to sleep. Sometimes it's a car, sometimes a couch. I'm really tired, but my hands and feet are so cold I can't get to sleep. I just want my own bed.
You can help rescue a child from homelessness. Donate to Vinnie's today at vinnies.org.au. Living with osteoarthritis means living with pain, but SportsMed is changing that thanks to the revolutionary GLAD program. Here's SportsMed's Dr. Greg Keane with more.
GLAD is a 6-week exercise program performed in groups, and it continues to produce remarkable results for patients, even a year after completing the course. If you are struggling with the pain of osteoarthritis, visit SportsMed. Let's beat this.
SportsMed.
Start living life again, even with arthritis.
sportsmed.com.au.
For over 36 years, Steinborner has been well worth the trip. With over 400 used cars to choose from, you're sure to find the car you're looking for. Steinborner is your first choice for new Hyundai and Mitsubishi in the Barossa, and your first choice for Ford in Clare. And don't forget, you can always click through the collection of vehicles online at steinborner.com.au. Great local deals on great local cars from your locals. Steinborner Automotive. Still well worth the trip, or well worth the click.
When you've been around for over a century, you know a thing or two. And Business SA and Ray White have almost 300 years between them. So when an alliance is formed between Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA, they're bringing all their experience to your business, making sure it's in top shape, whether you're buying, selling, or somewhere in between. Get in touch with the experts, Business SA and Ray White Business Sales SA on 8300 0000. That's 8300 0000.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
Buy 3, get 1 free on top tyre brands. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
13 to 7. I like this text from John, who just wrote John Mustang Sally, which is what I like to think John does when he turns up at a karaoke bar. He just walks up, drops his keys down, says John Mustang Sally.
Everyone goes quiet when John walks in.
That's right. Like an old scene from a tavern in the Old West.
Yeah, a bit of Sergio Leone.
Piano stops playing. John Mustang Sally. That's his entry for your go-to karaoke tune this morning on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line.
Look who's here, it's John.
Let's catch up with SAPOL. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad joins us. Morning to you, Kimberly.
Morning. John sounds quite menacing, doesn't he?
Yeah, keep an eye on John. Eh? But he might be one of those sort of raffish heroes of the West.
True.
You know. You ever get into the karaoke, Kimberly?
Oh, no. I've just got a...
Not in uniform.
No, not Imagine that. Goodness gracious.
I reckon there'd be a bit of you must have an end-of-year bash with the media crew. Have there ever been a karaoke machine at the Christmas party?
No, there hasn't. That might be an idea for 2021 for sure.
Yeah, count us in if you do.
Okay, sure.
So this is quite serious. A failed Molotov cocktail attack at Davern Park.
Yeah, it was just before 8 o'clock last night. Police and fire crews were called to a home in Birdsmore Road at Davern Park. A man was seen throwing 2 Molotov cocktails onto the roof of the property. He's then run off and was last seen heading towards Peachy Road. Now, thankfully, those items didn't explode and only caused some minor damage to the roof, and nobody was injured. But the suspect was described as having a slim build, wearing a black jumper with grey sleeves and dark-coloured pants. So we're just asking if anybody saw someone fitting that description or saw anything suspicious in that street to give us a call on the Crime Stoppers number 1800 333 000.
And also, Kimberley, police are searching for a wanted man.
Yeah, we're looking for wanted man Michael Chinau. He's 31 years old. He's wanted for a number of matters, including warrant and breaching his bail. If you have a look at his photo on our website and also Facebook page, you'll notice he has got some quite distinctive tattoos on both his arms and hands. And he's also believed to have access to a stolen blue Mitsubishi AXX and a grey BMW, which has got some stolen registration plates on it. So if you have any information or you As to his whereabouts or see any of those vehicles, if you could give us a call, the police assistance line immediately, 131 444.
Good stuff. Thank you for that, Kimberly, and have a great weekend.
You too, thank you.
Senior Constable Kimberly Broad from SAPOL. Simon Timke's at the Weather Bureau. Simon, how does the weekend's weather look?
Good morning, guys. Yeah, looking like there might just be the odd shower around about the hills and southern suburbs over the weekend. There's been a little bit go through this morning. Looking at the radar, still a couple of showers about the hills, particularly up around sort of the northeastern hills at the moment. Main band of showers has moved up over the the south of the mid-north, approaching Clare now. And there's a couple more pushing up from the south down around sort of Victor Harbour, Cape Jervis way at the moment. The totals that we've seen haven't been huge. We've had just over a millimetre here in the city, but some bigger falls around the hills. Mount Lofty's up to nearly 10 millimetres since 9 a.m. yesterday, and a bit further south, some of the southern hills have had a little bit more too. A couple of places down just east of Kangarilla have had 15 to 20 millimetres or so. So a little bit wet about parts of the hills. In general, about 5 to 10 millimetres. Most places around the plains picked up a couple of millimetres or so. For the weekend, though, Saturday, partly cloudy day, just a slight chance of a shower, most likely about the hills and southern suburbs, and probably not till late afternoon and evening. A little bit cool in the morning to start off with, an overnight minimum of 7, so a cold start for Saturday morning. 17 degrees the maximum for Saturday, and that's the same as today, 17 in the city for today. And around the suburbs today, 17 degrees, Elizabeth, Glenelg, Noarlunga, 15 degrees for Mount Barker. On Sunday, a slight chance of a shower just in the morning, I think, and again, most likely about the hills and southern suburbs. Northwesterly winds continuing and a little bit warmer for Sunday, 19 degrees. But then there's a more significant cold front moving across sort of late Monday, so partly cloudy conditions at first, and then a very high chance of showers developing late afternoon and evening. Pretty fresh and gusty northwesterly winds ahead of that change, and then tending westerly during the afternoon as that change moves across. So 20 degrees, the maximum ahead of that change, and the rainfall range we've got at the moment, 5 to 15 millimetres possible on Monday. Showers continuing into Tuesday, and with the cold air pushing up behind that change, possibility there could be some small hail around in some of those showers as well. And the maximum for Tuesday only 13 degrees, so a pretty cold day. Quite a few showers around that day as well. So a real burst of winter on the way for Tuesday.
Is it too early to say yet, Simon, whether that rain is going to continue into the long weekend?
Yeah, look, it is a bit early to say, but the trend through the middle part of next week is for those showers to ease anyway. So for Wednesday, just a couple of showers around still, but not much left by Thursday. So if you are heading off for the long weekend, fingers crossed, but we'll have to get a little bit closer this time to give you a better idea of what's going on there.
Just got a 12:30 booking for Golf Friday week at Wollonga. So just keep an eye on that one for me if you could. Me and my mate Darian are swinging the wrenches.
Doesn't that increase the chances of a rain?
Yeah, I think that's what might have brought it on.
Yeah, well, if it doesn't work, there's always 3 pubs in Wollonga, so I'm sure we can come up with a plan B.
Simon Timby, Senior Forecaster of the Weather Bureau. We had a Molotov cocktail attack in the police report a moment ago. You know what the origin of the Molotov cocktail name is? It's fascinating.
It's Russian, isn't it?
Well, you might have heard of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact that preceded World War II, which is when basically the Russians and the Germans the Soviets and the Germans agreed to petition Poland after an invasion. The reason it was called Molotov was because he was the Soviet foreign minister. The name actually comes from Finland. During the Winter War, it was a reference to Molotov, the foreign minister's propaganda. When they were bombing Finland, Soviet state radio said the missions weren't bombing Finland, they were actually airborne humanitarian food deliveries for their starving neighbours. And the Finns started calling the bombing raids Molotov's bread baskets. So when the war hit the ground and there were Soviet tanks and other targets that they could firebomb, they called them Molotov's cocktail because they were a drink to go with his food parcels.
Oh, really?
So that's the origin of it.
Yeah, right.
It was directed at the foreign minister during the Winter War.
Yeah, I've always associated them with like revolutionaries, like chucking them, government buildings and stuff.
Yeah, well, they sort of, the civilian's weapon, aren't they?
Yeah.
Which is, but that's where it comes from. 6 to 7, we're talking karaoke and sing-alongs. Australia's biggest sing-along is happening tomorrow night. Its host will join us in a moment.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think. Because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
You've selected your block, up on the river. Your mind is buzzing with ideas. This is going to be the best river home ever. Raised high, breezes flowing, great times ahead. But first, you need to walk through the Selector Homes display village and let your design ideas flow. Selector Homes have been creating holiday homes for over 25 years, and they are experts in building pole homes. Selector Homes and Building Solutions Display Village, Port Wakefield Road, Burton. Visit selectorhomes.com.au.
This week at Foodland, Huggies Ultra Dry Nappies 60 to 90s. A cute deal for cuties, just $22.95 till June 8th while stocks last.
Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, yeah.
Dreaming of an Audi? Make it a reality. The Audi End of Financial Year event. On now at Audi Solitaire. Ends June 30, 2021 while stock lasts. T's and C's and exclusions at audisolitaire.com.au. DL 65541.
Ever feel like you're not alone? Well, if you don't feel like sharing your shower with a spider, at Murray's we've been dealing with 8-legged friends for over 60 years. So call now or book online for 25% off spider treatments. That's right, 25% off spider treatments for your home. murraypestcontrol.com.au.
No worries with the team from Murray's. 5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
4 to 7. Well, this next chat has inspired the meat tray question for the morning. Australia's biggest sing-along. It's on tomorrow night.
Oh, Miranda, thank God you're here now. I want you to grab a mic and just start setting up anywhere. This is going to be big. It's Australia's biggest ever sing-along. No, don't worry, you don't have to be a great singer. We welcome everyone.
Julia.
Australia, all coming together, singing in perfect harmony. Actually, you know what? I think we're going to need a bigger space.
Julia! You know they'll all be singing from home, right?
Oh. No.
Yeah.
No. No. No.
8 o'clock tomorrow night on SBS, hosted by our next guest, Julia Zamiro. Julia, good morning to you. Good to have you on again.
Hello, David and Will. How are you going?
We're going well, thanks, Julia. Now, we've all got a little bit of karaoke inside of us. Everyone's got a go-to song, whether they've recognised it or not. Have you got one? Have you got a go-to tune?
Yeah, my karaoke song is "These Boots Are Made for Walking," because even if you're blind drunk, you can still get away with it because it's a talking singing song.
That's true. Nancy Sinatra.
Talking singing.
What do you reckon?
Yeah, Nancy.
What do you think Australia's karaoke song is?
Well, I would say, too, that this isn't exactly karaoke, what we're doing, because there's no hideous backing track that's been made by a computer. This is just the standalone voice. But because it's lots of voices together, everyone can sound good. So we thought, if you're going to get all of Australia singing, and this has been done through Pub Choir, that amazing group in Brisbane who started doing this a few years ago, where they would just get people in a pub, teach them a song, really give them all the different parts and harmonies. They can get drinks, have a beer, and then have a great sing-along at the end. And often the person whose song it was would come out at the last moment and bang, there they'd be. So we thought Throw Your Arms Around Me, Mark Seymour, would be an amazing song because blokes will get involved because they all know that song. Women always get involved because we love a sing and we're joiners. And what the amazing, Miranda and I will be hosting, and the amazing Astrid from Pub Choir will be dividing up the Sydney Town Hall in all their parts and Australia. And there'll be lots of other things during the show, but at a live event where at the end we'll sing that song, and Mark Seymour will walk onto that stage and sing it with them.
How awesome. I'm looking at the list that you're doing as well. I'm glad that you're the voices in there, because whenever we ask our listeners, Julia, about songs that for them really speak to Australia. Your The Voice is well and truly up there.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. And what's even better is that now Mitch Cambo does it in Indigenous language as well.
Yeah,
so now it is a truly Australian song. And yeah, there's something very unifying about that song. You know, John Farnham really struck a chord, didn't he?
Yeah.
With that, and to be hearing that will be amazing. We've also got Dami Im, and she'll be singing Little River Band's Help Is On Its Way with a little gospel choir of her own. And we'll be cutting to Brooke McClymont and Adam Eckersley and Katie Noonan as well. So there'll be some country in there. It's a real mix, and cutting to all different choirs around the country and teaching you a song. And if there's anyone in your lounge room or in your family that you say can't sing, I don't want any of that. There'll be no shaming on my show. Everyone's allowed to sing. Can you guys sing? Do you feel confident having a sing?
He won't say it, but David can really sing.
No,
he loves it.
I can't really sing.
Well, what he doesn't do with hitting notes, he makes up for in terms of extravagant performance, Julia. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Elton John. That's
yeah,
really
he's actually there's a lot of Elton John to what he does.
Early Elton. 70s Elton.
Big
The
glasses
outfits.
Elton. Yeah, that's right.
No, I love it. I do love karaoke. I enjoy it. My mates and I often do it. And I was saying before, I got
What's your
bug.
go-to song? What's your go-to song?
Oh, I do a pretty weird but high energy version of Kate Bush's Wuthering Heights.
Oh, are you joking?
I've seen it.
I love that song.
It's actually
I love
exceptional.
it. I love it. And I like a lot of Air Supply too. I really like Lost in Love, All Out of Love, and if you're feeling ambitious, Making Love Out of Nothing at All.
Oh, my God.
Bit of a toughie, that one, though.
Yeah, see, the thing is, you're doing this wonderful special tomorrow night, Julia. David just calls it Saturday night at his place. So
Yeah, I know. So let us take you to our Saturday night at our place, and you can sing, throw your arms around me in your big Jeep and a nice, lovely bass tone.
Good on you,
Count me
Julia.
in.
Lovely to speak with you.
Sounds terrific.
Australia's biggest sing-along live tomorrow night at 8 o'clock.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A morning shower or two and 17 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Victoria is set to welcome the country's first purpose-built COVID quarantine facility. The federal government is looking to contribute $200 million toward its construction. The state would be expected to pay for the operating costs. Hotel quarantine would also continue to operate, in addition to the 500-bed dedicated facility, most likely situated at Avalon. State Opposition Leader Peter Malinauskas is a fan of standalone facilities and says there's no time to waste.
Ideally, these quarantine facilities would have started construction last year. There were calls out, including from myself, in the spring of last year. Look, that's in the past now. Let's focus on the future. Scott Morrison has finally acknowledged that this does need to happen.
The Australian Medical Association's Victorian president is calling on other states and territories to divert some of their vaccine supply his way. Yesterday, some Victorians who finally made it through to COVID-19 hotlines were told their nearest vaccination hubs weren't taking any more bookings for Pfizer. The AMA's Dr Roderick McRae says vaccine supply should be redirected to where it's needed most.
It's very reasonable in the current circumstances that other states could see it as an investment in their interests to ensure that the lockdown and the outbreak of the virus is contained in Melbourne and Greater Melbourne.
A repatriation flight from New Delhi with 150 Australians on board lands in SA today. It's the first direct flight from India to our state since a travel ban ended last month. Premier Stephen Marshall says passengers will undergo 14 days of quarantine and daily COVID testing.
I'm absolutely guaranteed that we've done everything we possibly can ahead of the flight and then also when people arrive on that flight. Daily saliva testing, PCR testing on day 1, day 5, day 9 and day 13.
There's been an attempted firebombing at Davern Park. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says they were called to a house on Birdsmore Road just before 8 last night.
A man was seen throwing 2 Molotov cocktails onto the roof of the property. He's then run off. Now, thankfully, those items didn't explode and only caused some minor damage to the roof and nobody was injured.
Investigations are continuing. US President Joe Biden will meet face-to-face with the Queen next weekend as he embarks on his first overseas trip since being elected. Nine's Ben Avery Gregory reports from London.
Buckingham Palace has released a short statement to announce the Queen will host Joe Biden and First Lady Jill at Windsor Castle next Sunday after he attends the 3-day G7 summit in Cornwall. The monarch and the President have never previously met in person but have been in touch in recent months. The Queen sent a private congratulatory message to Biden ahead of his inauguration, while the Bidens sent condolences to Her Majesty after Prince Philip's death in April. The 95-year-old monarch has met 12 other US presidents since taking the throne in 1952, including John F. Kennedy, Ronald Reagan and more recently Donald Trump.
And hundreds of baby squid are being sent to the International Space Station. The newly hatched glow-in-the-dark creatures will be used to study the relationship between beneficial microbes and animal hosts. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Transform your 12-volt and camping setup with kick-ass products from australiandirect.com.au.
And what's happening with the Socceroos, Tom Wren?
Well, Mel, some good news. They've moved a step closer towards World Cup qualification after a comprehensive 3-0 win against Kuwait this morning. They're on top of their group and only need one more win from their remaining 3 matches to ensure they'll move to the next stage. Still on soccer, and Adelaide United has qualified for the A-League finals, albeit with some difficulty after a 2-2 draw against Western Sydney. The Reds trailed 2-1 but found the all-important equaliser through a familiar source.
And good one! Well, in the big games, the big names stand up, and Craig Goodwin is no exception.
Audio thanks to Fox there. Well, the Northern Territory will bid to establish an AFL team in Darwin. The Herald Sun reporting while the club would not be financially viable if established under the traditional model, it is worth pursuing due to the social benefits. A feasibility study found the value of that social benefit could be as great as $462 million, leading to improved health, education and crime reduction outcomes. Meantime, the Crows have welcomed back youngster Ronan O'Connor for tomorrow's clash against Collingwood, with Sam Berry out through concussion. A hip injury has forced Australia's Ash Barty to withdraw from the French Open. Losses also for fellow Aussies Astra Sharma, Alex de Minaur and James Duckworth. And 50 days out from the Games, the president of the Tokyo Olympics says he's 100% certain they will go ahead. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great deal and 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
Good morning. Wet weather around today on the roads, so do take some extra care. And Stirling and Cravers on the freeway, we actually have reduced visibility due to the weather and rain. Mount Osborne on the freeway, up track, speed and lane restrictions apply for works, and some other roadworks keep your eye out for today. At Seaton Trimmer Parade near Tapley's Hill Road, both directions down to 40 k's and one lane is closed. Speed cameras today, Foster's Road, Hillcrest, Grand Junction Road, Gillis Plains and Kelly Road at Modbury. Anaconda Modbury has had a facelift. Celebrate with 20 to 50% off store-wide. Some exclusions apply. Shop in-store this weekend. Anaconda Modbury, open Saturday. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
A morning shower or two with a top of 17. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 17. Sunday much the same, 19. Right now it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
Meek Tray on the line. Ian in Two Wells. Morning, Ian.
Favourite song for karaoke is That's Amore by D. Martin.
You could sing it at a moment's notice, Ian, that one. How many times have you done it?
Oh, hundreds.
Hundreds?
Yeah.
Would you give us a few bars if I had the karaoke version on me right now?
Yes, I would.
All right.
I'm gonna hit you up the big pizza box tomorrow.
Yes, Ian! That is tremendous, mate. Thank you. 8 o'clock tomorrow night on SBS, hosted by our next guest, Julia Zamiro. Julia, good morning.
We've all got a little bit of karaoke inside of us. Everyone's got a go-to song, whether they've recognised it or not. Have you got one?
My karaoke song is These Boots Are Made for Walking. Because even if you're blind drunk, you can still get away with it because it's a talking, singing song.
That's true.
And if there's anyone in your lounge room or in your family that you say can't sing, I don't want any of that. There'll be no shaming on my show. Everyone's allowed to sing.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Going after 17, Thought coming up in just a moment. Also, Phil Curry will join us in Canberra in about 5 minutes' time. We'll talk federal politics, wrap a big week with Phil Curry. The meat tray today has been supplied by the wonderful, iconic Gaucho's restaurant. This is, you can try there at home with Gaucho's chimichurri sauce.
Chimichurri, that's the Argentinian parsley, garlic, oregano, sensational stuff.
Diablo sauce, I heard you raving about it in that break before.
They are famous for their oysters, Gauchos. The ostras al diablo. That sauce makes the best oysters Kilpatrick.
Talking favourite karaoke tunes, Dave in Alberton, our Alberton correspondent's on the line. Morning to you, Dave.
Yeah, morning, guys. I've got two, like most people. So my first one, while I'm in good order, is Powderfinger's "My Happiness."
Oh, good one.
I think it's a good one. And then when I've reached tipping point and start making bad decisions, Shania Twain, "Man, I Feel Like a Woman."
Totally crazy. Forget I'm a lady.
Absolutely. My head wouldn't believe how liberating that is, Pembo. Give that one a go.
What is it? The best thing about being a woman is the prerogative to have a little fun.
There you go.
That's exactly what I do.
Dave, I think he may have done it before, based on that.
It's a mantra to live by, isn't it?
There may have been a pink cowboy hat involved, and other than that, I'm not confirming anything.
Thank you, Dave. Alberton correspondent Dave Lloyd.
That's right.
Let's
The
go.
Shania Twain of Alberton, Dave Lloyd.
Yeah, but people have said that. Leo is on the line. Morning, Leo.
Morning, boys.
What's yours, mate?
My all-time favourite is Johnny Farnham, You're the Voice.
Yeah. And the crowd gets into it too, don't they?
They really do. It's the best one for the end of the night, I reckon.
Yeah, that's a good one, Leo. Good man.
Like that.
Simon, good morning.
Morning, how are you, fellas?
Good, thanks, mate.
We got a funny one. We were 3 years ago. The four of us were in far west China in some little obscure town in the middle of nowhere, and we were out at a little restaurant or a little hole-in-the-wall place to have something to eat. And we got well, we couldn't talk, so we were interacting with other Chinese people there, and all going well, and a bit of sign language going on, and they basically stood up and got us to sing, and we had to sing Advanced Australia Fair. We all looked at each other. We're in the middle of nowhere, like I'm talking in the middle of far west China. Anyway, they scrabbled around a bit and got talking. We could interact. And they brought back our manager from our hotel who could actually speak English. And he came in, the look on his face was priceless. Like he was like, anyway, we found out this bloke and all his entourage, that was the mayor of this whole province in China.
Oh, wow.
You're joking.
So we were like, what the hell? So we end up drinking fire water, this, like grappa-like stuff and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, that rice wine gear they get into.
We need to get you back over there, Simon, to sort of re-get the relationship on an even keel.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know about, not these days, I don't think.
Yeah.
Anyway. But
You might vanish.
We came out of there and we just all looked at each other and went, what the hell went on there? Anyway, it was interesting.
Oh, that's
Fantastic.
excellent. What a great story. Thank you,
That's
Simon.
Australia Fair.
Alf in Broadview, good morning.
Morning, gents. You can't go past Jimmy Barnes, Working Class Man, Brian Adams, summer of '69, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Two
absolute
huge
staples.
crowd pleasers.
Yep. Chris in Morpeth Vale, good morning.
Oh, what I love about karaoke, boys, at 1 o'clock in the morning, we're all rock stars, and that's fantastic. But I'm going back to an oldie which always gets everyone involved, and that's Status Quo, rocking all over the world.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, good one, Chris. I like that. Chris in Morpeth Vale, rocking all over the world.
The lead singer of Status Quo, I remember hearing him interviewed on Canberra radio after they'd played a show there, and the interviewer said, geez, last night from when you played that first chord, the crowd went wild, and the guy said, yeah, he said they like the other chord too.
All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Pot Honda. Complicated piece of music. Get a great deal on 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles. That's Dave Pot Honda.
At Basin Street, Warringah Beach, look out for an animal straying on the road. Little unusual. It's a straying goat. No, I'm not kidding. Wet weather today is causing a few delays, and we're seeing reduced visibility at Stirling Crafers on the freeway. Take some care there. Mount Osmond, the freeway up track, speed and lane restrictions apply for works. And some other roadworks to keep in mind today. Campbelltown Gorge Road near Newton Road, both directions down to 40. And at Seaton, Trimmer Parade near Tapley's Hill Road, speeds also down to 40 and got one lane closed there as well. Buy one Hill Science Diet 1 to 3.5 kilo dry cat food bag and get the second half price at Pet Barn. Conditions apply. Hurry ends June 7 at Pet Barn. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Mum, I'm bored. Are we there yet?
Mate, we've only been in the car for 20 minutes. And look, here's West Beach Parks.
Did you pack the marshmallows?
You bet.
Don't spend your entire break driving. Enjoy a short winter break at West Beach Parks. Glamp, camp or cabin in style. Affordable, relaxing fun for everyone. West Beach Parks. Come to life this winter.
Thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, in just 2 weeks you could be making a decision between a Porsche Taycan or $300,000 cash. Plus, your ticket stays in the draw to win a stunning Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade at South Brighton that comes with $1 million cash. Just imagine watching sunsets from the balcony of your fully furnished home overlooking the beach. Join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care by purchasing your tickets today at homelottery.com.au. Licence M13989.
Sold by McGain again.
And look, as we keep saying, it's really important to get along to these open inspections because in the current climate, you could miss out.
You don't want to miss out. So on Sunday, catch up with Andrew Boswell. He's opening up 30 Pennant Street, Aberfoyle Park, 1 to 1:45 p.m. This is first home heaven. A well-maintained 3-bedroom, 1-bathroom home with renovated kitchen, garage, private large gardens, quiet location, $399 to $438K.
I reckon bush living city benefits would be a good little tagline for Aberfoyle Park. It's so beautiful. And you're so close to all these beautiful walks, gum trees everywhere. And also on Sunday, in the same neck of the woods, this one's open from 2:15 to 3 p.m. Andrew Boswell, the Boz, and Kane Tonkin, the Boz, we call him the Boz. They're opening 17 Georgiana Street, Flagstaff Hill. This is a light and bright family home. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, renovated ensuite, polished floorboards, a big block and private gardens. Too many L's there. Perfect for the kids. $499,000 to $539,000.
How about the Boz moving property at the moment?
He's on fire.
He's just moving property every weekend.
He sells houses in his sleep.
For all the info, take a look at these properties and all the McGain listings at realestate.com.au.
Look at the head on that. How did you become such a good home brewer? Easy. I just WEA'd it. Cheers. Cheers.
With new courses going up every week, you can WEA anything. WEA-sa.com.au.
Kids love being active, and it doesn't always have to be on the sports field. Get them into the garden. You'll be surprised how much ownership kids show when they've actually planted and grown something themselves. Duck into a garden centre today and grab a Balhanna Nurseries fruit tree. Just look for the green bag. Balhanna Nurseries have delivered thousands of fruit trees across the state, ready for the bare-rooted planting season. Support Balhanna Nurseries, our very own SA family-owned fruit tree nursery.
I want to start my own business, but I don't know where to start.
Why don't you WEA it? With new business courses going up every week, you can WEA anything. WEA-sa.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
17 after 7. A little oddity in the traffic report a moment ago. Goat on the road in Aldinga. Beware of the goat.
There's a new segment we call Goat Watch. Goat. We got Fuel Watch. Now we got Goat Watch.
We got Goat Watch. I don't know. It's bad luck if a black cat crosses your path. If a goat crosses your path, what does it mean?
Oh, I think it's, as long as you don't hit it, I think it's good luck. Yeah, it's good luck in some cultures.
Yeah.
Waller's voucher, $100 Waller's voucher in the offing if you can give us a live goat report from Aldinga.
Yeah.
There's a lot of goats on Norman Road. What's this goat up to? What's this goat really up to?
Let's talk federal politics. Following on from Goat Watch, it's just a sort of a natural segue, isn't it? Phil Curry from the Fin Review joins us in the nation's capital. Morning to you, Phil.
Hi, Phil. It's big news day, is it, down there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, mate. It's all happening in Adelaide. Sometimes the Australians say, you've got a story for us tomorrow. Like, nah, nothing going on here.
Just a goat.
I could give you a few parts about the goat if you want. Not really what they're after. Normally they want a 1,500-word think piece about tariffs or something. So, mate, big national cabinet today.
Yes. Yeah, no, it is. We've had a big couple of weeks with all the calamity in Victoria and we've seen the politics change a bit. There's a lot more focus on what the federal government did and didn't do, as well as what the state government did and didn't do. So we've seen, we've sort of highlighted how few people in aged care are being vaccinated, both residents and workers, and it's accelerated the push for a quarantine centre and sort of some sort of payment for workers when they stop working when the state government locks down on them. So all those three things are going to be addressed today. The Prime Minister announced yesterday this sort of disaster payment system. So if you lose shifts or whatever because you've been locked down, there'll be some sort of, it's a bit like a drought or a fire, one-off things through Centrelink, but it's the way it's been structured is it's designed to discourage the states locking down unless absolutely necessary. So it's quite, it's quite limited in, you don't get it unless the lockdown goes for more than 7 days. And then you only get it if the lockdown is deemed, if the Commonwealth deems the lockdown area a hotspot on the Commonwealth definition. So
yeah, right.
The states often just fly into a lockdown for one case or whatever, and that's the Commonwealth definition is 10 cases a day for 3 days. So you've got to really think about it before you do it. It's designed to stop what happened in Victoria last week, where the Merlino government locked down the entire state again because of an outbreak in Melbourne. And so you had Mildura, for example, hadn't had a case for 13 months, and the whole city shut down, and hundreds of miles away from where the outbreak was. So, I think it's a good idea, to be honest, because it's about time. There's a bit more accountability of these lockdowns. That they should only be done when necessary because they're enormously disruptive. And we've seen, say Queensland and West Australia, they don't shut down the whole state, they'll just do the city. New South Wales doesn't even do a whole suburb. So it can be done, and it's to stop sort of the easy option, if you like.
It sounds like Scott Morrison has responded to the criticisms about the Fed's reluctance to get involved in the quarantine program, and that there's going to be a significant amount of money for a big quarantine facility in Victoria, Phil.
Yeah. So look, we've got to keep a sense of perspective. We've had 352,000 people come back through hotel quarantine, 21 breaches. Right. So it's not even 0.1% or whatever. But what we can see how damaging a breach can be. So they've already expanded this facility up in Darwin at a place called Howard Springs. It's now up to 2,000 beds, but we need more of these. We've got to sort of take the burden, especially the high-risk cases, off the hotels. So the Vics have been proposing this thing near Avalon Airport, and it ticks all the boxes. The government's been quite favourably disposed to it for a while, and they'll give that the sign-off today too. They'll pay to build it, and the Vics can operate it. That'll be a 500-bed thing. We may see more of these now, I suspect, as this becomes a long-term management issue.
So when will it be finished, Phil?
I bet not till next year.
Okay, so because I read in the Fin Review this morning the NAB analysis about when we'll all be vaccinated, that was the middle of next year, unless the 20 million Pfizer doses we get at the end of the year are distributed a little more quickly. So we'll have a quarantine facility in time for us all to be vaccinated?
Yeah, but it's more for bringing people home, the quarantine facility. So
we're still going to quarantine people even after we're all vaccinated?
Oh, who knows? They just don't know. I mean, it's just too early to make these sorts of decisions. I mean, because it's still not clear if you're vaccinated whether you can still infect people, and if you can, how bad it is. Because the other thing they're doing today, that they want the states to issue what are called public health orders and to force aged care home providers to vaccinate their workers. Now, the doctors, this AHPCC committee, has recommended against mandatory vaccination of aged care workers on some pretty sort of silly grounds. And Morrison said yesterday, well, look, common sense has got to prevail here. We forcibly vaccinate kids at childcare centres. You've got to have a flu shot to work in an aged care home. McGowan in WA, he mandated that quarantine workers in Perth be vaccinated. So they're going to push the premiers today to issue an order to make sure aged care workers have to be vaccinated to work in aged care homes. Again, this is a problem that was exposed by Victoria, the low rate. So this will be another sort of blue that'll be on today as well.
Mm. Plenty to get through. Good stuff, Phil. Have a great weekend, mate. Thanks for that.
Cool. Don't catch the footy.
No. Oh, no. Duck and run. Duck and cover.
That was the best thing all week.
Yeah, we had a little bit of fun with it yesterday.
Yes. Got about 1,500 text messages about it yesterday.
Oh, she's great. She's our favourite chief medical officer over here. So.
Oh, same here. she's done a sensational job. It was just a...
So you're not a footy fan? I think that's what we established.
That's right, which actually...
Good on you, Phil. Phil
Cheers,
Curry
Phil.
from the Fin Review in the nation's capital. 24 minutes after 8. Let's talk sport because Rowie spoke a little bit about catching the footy in the crowd, but it was in a bygone era when it wasn't something that was, a giant health risk.
Life and death.
Exactly right. Used vehicle stock always changing at North Point Toyota, Hillcrest, Prospect and Port Augusta. It's the North Point way. The person that Rowie caught up with was the very person that famously caught footies before catching footies, was newsworthy. The man who caught the footy, Ned McHenry, kicked into the crowd after the Crows' 1-point victory at the Adelaide Oval.
Ned.
Rowie, good to see you.
Bruce.
Hey, Rowie.
Ned, meet Bruce.
Good to meet you, Bruce.
Just tell us what happened, firstly, Bruce. You're in the Western Stand.
Yeah, you're in the Western Stand, and of course the siren went. Everyone's jumping up. Fantastic win. And I look around, and there's the ball coming at me. And it just kept coming, and it virtually fell in my arms.
And you marked it?
I marked it, yep.
Was it the biggest kick you've ever known, Ned?
Yeah, probably. It's probably the only one that's actually hit a target as well. It hit Bruce, so it was a good one to get one.
So tell us your emotions when the siren went. It's a 1-point win.
Yeah, that was a crazy win. Not to reflect too much back on it, but yeah, it was a good one. And I just ended up with the ball. The siren went, and just for some reason, I just do some strange things, and I just decided to kick it, and yeah, it ended up being quite funny.
Pure emotion, loved it. Now, Bruce, what did you do after you marked it?
Yeah, I was thinking about throwing it back, and then my son said to me, put it under your jumper. So,
and then you bolted.
So I put it under the jumper. Oh, we hung around and celebrated a little, and then we just wandered out, feeling a bit guilty, but got out all right.
Well done.
We're taking it home in the Uber, and the Uber driver said, "Oh, that's fantastic." He said, "My wife works in the office at the Crows." So.
Oh, fantastic. Anyway, we've got you two together to sign it. Ned's now your favourite player. You said that to me.
Yes, he is, absolutely.
And you've got a camper van that you've named Ned.
Yeah, well, it is called Neddy. Not after Ned, but it works pretty well, yeah.
Well done. Well, you're a good Crows member. Thanks for coming. You've got it signed. Neddy, keep up the great form.
Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Good man. Well done, man.
That's a lovely story. And he's been a real success story this year, Ned McHenry. He's come on in leaps and bounds. Been terrific. Looking forward to seeing what he does at the Adelaide Oval tomorrow.
You're calling him, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I will be there avoiding the football.
I'll be there avoiding the football too.
All new Kluger Hybrids about to arrive at North Point Toyota. Pre-order to avoid disappointment. It is the North Point way.
For over 36 years, Steinborner certified cars has always exceeded expectations on value, service and selection, and that continues. That's why it's always well worth a trip to Steinborner certified cars in Gawler, Nuriotpa and Clare. For great deals on new and demo Hyundai, Ford and Mitsubishis, plus SA's biggest and best range of used cars. Make the trip to one of Steinborner's 8 dealerships or view the whole range of cars now at steinborner.com.au. And join the thousands who know. Steinborner certified cars. It's well worth the trip.
Footy's back and they're loving it at Macca's. What better way to fire up half-time than with a McSpicy chicken burger? Or every goal with another grab of their famous fries. Macca's SA. It's the home of footy.
At the Australian Building Company, we love building things. Homes, trust, relationships. And now you can move into your dream home even sooner because we make all the paperwork and the decisions easy as. Plus, there's no unexpected surprises with our fixed price contract delivered in just 7 days. You'll love building with us as much as we'll love building with you. Visit australianbuildingcompany.com.au.
The countdown to the 1st of July is on. And I tell you what, it's coming quickly, isn't it?
Yep.
June, what are we at? 4?
Yeah.
When did that happen?
The year's almost half gone.
June is I know. My life's flashing before my eyes. And so, David, are designer mixer taps from Puritap.
They are. We had the Puritap guy around this week to change the filter. It's the easiest thing in the world. Turns up once a year, costs you next to nothing. You get beautiful, crisp tasting, clear water. Now, look, if you haven't got one, get one. Puritap, they're doing amazing deals on, and they're beautiful looking taps. They're doing amazing deals on the whole range of designer taps in time for the EOFY.
Now, there's lots of stock available right now, so Puritap can pass the savings on to you. Now, for June only, you can score an amazing end of financial year price on the most popular taps.
They've gone mad, the Puritap people. There's still time to secure the 2020 price, but you must act now because it won't last long. June is going fast and the taps are walking out the door.
They really are. Puritab's
Quite
end
literally.
literally, they have a mind of their own.
Like that goat.
They became self-aware.
They're on the loose.
Puritab's end of financial year sales, strictly limited until June 30. Just call Puritab today on 133502 or go to their website, puritab.com.au.
Ray White Business Sales SA and Business SA. Both are experts at what they do, so they've formed an alliance to help you. Whether you're buying or selling a business or somewhere in between, they'll work together, making sure the business you're going to sell or buy is in top shape. Ray White Business Sales SA and Business SA. Experts in business support and sales. Ready to help you achieve your goals. Call them today. 8300 0000.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A morning shower or two today and a top of 17 with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
The federal government has finally committed to building a dedicated quarantine facility in Victoria. Nine's Isabella Stokowski reports.
A 500-bed quarantine facility modelled off Howard Springs will be built near Avalon Airport, with the federal government agreeing to contribute $200 million. Construction is expected to start in September, and it's possible it will be completed before the end of the year. Meanwhile, 2 fleeting transmission cases have now been reclassified as false positives. These fleeting transmission cases did contribute to the lockdown extension, raising questions this morning and calls to end restrictions early.
A Mercy flight from India with 150 Australians on board is set to fly into Adelaide this afternoon. All passengers will quarantine at the Pullman Hotel. They'll undergo daily saliva screenings and tests on days 1, 5, 9 and 13. It's the first direct flight to SA from India after the travel ban ended last month. States and territories will be asked to stump for half the cost of new COVID measures in the event of a prolonged lockdown. Nine's Michael Packy says that will be discussed at today's National Cabinet meeting.
Residents in areas that have been declared a Commonwealth hotspot and locked down for more than 7 days will be able to apply for a special payment from Tuesday. People in Greater Melbourne will be first to utilise the measure, worth up to $500 a week if they can prove they've lost at least 20 hours work. The federal payment can only be accessed if a person has less than $10,000 in savings and aren't receiving any welfare. The Prime Minister will discuss the issue with his state and territory counterparts, where he'll push for a 50-50 funding split to help households and business during lockdowns.
A Northern Suburbs house has been targeted with Molotov cocktails. 2 were thrown onto the roof of the Davern Park property shortly before 8 last night. They didn't explode. No one at the Birdsmore Road address was hurt. The male suspect hit a runner on foot. Investigations are continuing. Meat processing giant JBS has announced its operations are back to normal after being crippled by a cyber attack. Processing around the world, including in Australia, was halted when the company was hit by ransomware originating from Russia. A US airline is set to bring back supersonic travel. Nine's Brian Wilson explains.
It's almost 2 decades since Concorde's last passenger flight, but the supersonic era is set to return, with US airline United signing a deal with Boom Aero for up to 35 zero-emission aircraft that will fly at almost twice the speed of sound. The plane has a range equivalent to flying from Melbourne to Hong Kong in a journey time of around 4 hours. The luxury 60-seat passenger jet will take to the skies in 2026 and will be halving the flight time on many of United's premium routes by 2029.
Now Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Transform your 12-volt and camping setup with kick-ass products from australiandirect.com.au.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Former Adelaide United player Matthew Leckie has played a big part in the Socceroos' convincing 3-0 win against Kuwait in their World Cup qualifier this morning. Leckie taking less than a minute to get his country on the board.
Lifted in towards Leckie, who scored 2 against Kuwait last time he played them, and he's on the scoreboard early here, wearing the captain's armband.
Audio thanks to Fox there. Meantime, Adelaide United has qualified for the A-League finals, but they were forced to do it the hard way with a 2-2 draw against Western Sydney. The Reds will finish in 6th place and are no chance for a home final. To football, and Adelaide has brought in youngster Ronan O'Connor for tomorrow's clash against Collingwood. The match is going ahead at Adelaide Oval, but there is some talk players may need to go into hubs at some stage this season. Captain Rory Sloane telling Rowie he doesn't think that will happen with them.
Last year showed we could fly in and fly out, so I think that'll probably be the option for us. But again, flexibility I think was probably the key for us last year. We just had to be flexible with the whole AFL season, and the way this season will keep panning out, we'll just continue to be flexible and continually do what we've got to do to make sure we get this season wrapped up.
To tennis, and Ash Barty is out of the French Open, a hip injury forcing her to retire in her match against Poland's Magda Linette. Losses also for fellow Aussies Astra Sharma, Alex de Minaur and James Duckworth. And in the NBL, the Sydney Kings have kept their finals hopes alive following a 79 to 73 point win against Illawarra. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great deal and 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
Good morning. Wet roads today, so do take some extra care, but so far so good. Shouldn't have too many hassles on the drive to work. Simply some roadworks to look out for today. Mount Osborne on the freeway up track, speed and lane restrictions apply for works. Salisbury East, Main North Road, Kings McIntyre Road intersection. That's slow this morning, down to 40, and we're seeing a few delays this morning at 5 Ash Drive, Goodwood Dawes Road. That intersection upgrade also down to 40 as well. Want to treat yourself? Try an Envy apple. This sweet, sophisticated snacking apple is now in season and available at supermarkets and grocers. Envy apples, bite and believe. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
A morning shower or two for your Friday with a top of 17. Partly cloudy tomorrow, also 17, then 19 on Sunday. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
23 minutes to 8. We need to highlight something of an abnormality we've noticed in the meat tray Friday this morning.
Oh, do we?
Great meat tray, thanks to Gaucho's, of course, iconic restaurant here in Adelaide, where they've put together a cracking meat tray, sauces. Gaucho's at home, you should try it, definitely. I don't need to say any more about them. But what I do need to say something about is the gender split of the meat tray entrance this morning. People nominating their go-to karaoke tune.
Yes.
We are currently sitting at, David, with a cursory look at the data, 100% men have called in.
We have not. It's bizarre because, like, every week, I reckon some weeks skew more female than male. Some weeks it's most times it's roughly 50-50. But today, every single person who has rung in to tell us their favourite karaoke tune has been a bloke.
Yep.
Which, you know, for women listening, it might prove their long-held suspicion that men love being the centre of attention and enjoy the sound of their own voice.
Powerful exhibit of evidence in that argument. Call us, ladies. So tell us what your go-to karaoke tune is. 8223 0000. If we don't get one in the next half hour, I'm going to come up with a way to incentivise this. And I've got something that we're trying to pull together, and if it does come out, I think we'll definitely get some female callers in the last hour. But stay tuned for that, because right now we want to talk about one of my favourite genres of television program, David, because if I'm not watching sport, I'm watching sporting documentaries. Head Above Water is a new Amazon original series. It's out tomorrow. It takes you behind the scenes with some of the biggest names in Australian swimming, and I really like what it's done. It showcases 4 different swimmers at different stages of their career. What's it like being a swimmer aspiring to get into the Olympics? What about if this is your last Olympics? How do you feel in the lead up to that? What about if you're trying to round out your legacy and you're at the top of your game? What's it like looking back when you made the decision to retire?
We sacrifice so much to be a swimmer. We train 6 days a week, up to 50 hours a week, 50 weeks of the year.
Take your mark.
Push! 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 Ah! Come
Time to go! Time to go!
I've achieved my lifetime dream. And I thought, is there more here?
There's no bigger name than the one that it belongs to the voice we just heard in Ian Thorpe, who joins us now on 5AA Breakfast. And I should say, Thorpe, one thing we learned in the documentary is you don't like being called Ian, so I will avoid that. Good morning to you.
Yeah, well, I much prefer Thorpe.
All right, we'll go with Thorpe then. We're happy with that.
Yeah, all good.
Mate, what a career. I was lucky enough to see you swim at Sydney, where you won, was it 3 golds, the Sydney Olympics?
Yeah, 3 gold in Sydney, yes.
5 all up. Can I ask you, though, how is it that in a job where, by definition, some of the most exciting things in your life happen in the first part of your life, is that one of the most challenging things, being an elite athlete, that you sort of hit the grand old age of 30 and suddenly
you're retired at 24
or 24? What's it like making that adjustment?
It is significant, but the reality of being an athlete is you're always going to have a finite career. It's a career that can end any day of the week because of injury or what may happen. And so you accept that. And, for me, it's, I even look back at Sydney, there was a moment where I thought, is there anything else that, I've accomplished what was my goal, which was to become an Olympian. And then my dream, which is the kind of thing that you feel a little bit embarrassed to say to people because you don't know if you should aspire to those kind of heights, was to become an Olympic champion. And so I went, I went, no, I think there's more here. I want to accomplish more in the sport. I don't think I'm the best swimmer that I could be. And so I kept on going. But that adjustment out of sport, it's almost like breathing for a lot because it makes up so much of your life. And then once you don't have it, you have to find something else to be able to make up for that. So if you know that before kind of that transition away from sport, it helps out a lot.
Yeah. The Australian public's relationship with our swimming stars, I think, is unique among sport. We have team sports and football and other things that we follow week in, week out over the course of the year, get into the minutiae of every single week and debate all sorts of little bits of things about. Swimming, every 4 years, you guys all become the biggest names and most important people in sport in this country. But beyond that, we're not there. We're not analysing the training and the performances and the other meets and the times you're doing and your form and all that kind of other stuff. So our knowledge is much lower despite you guys all being so well known and loved. That makes this documentary, I think, really interesting. What are the things we will learn about being an Olympic swimmer that most Australians have no concept of?
Sure. That's a fantastic question, by the way. It's very cliched. Everyone talks about swimming up and down a black line. If you see a black line, you probably concentrate on the wrong thing. If you're a swimmer, you probably also in what you look at, because we have these cycles that are usually 4 years. Of course, this one's 5 for the Olympic athletes. It's the considerations around, what you're prepared to do to your body to be able to have the opportunity that for a lot is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to be able to make it to an Olympic Games or to possibly win at an Olympic Games. And then if you look at someone like Kyle Chalmers, what he has to go through and what he's prepared to do to actually be able to defend his Olympic title. He is in an event where in the contemporary era, there's only been the 2 best sprinters in the world that have been able to defend 100 metres freestyle title. And then when you go back through history, there's only been the Duke, who, brought surfing to Australia, and then also Weissmuller, who is Tarzan, the original Tarzan, was the other one that was able to defend that title. So all of that, but then, you look at injuries and, Kyle's had some injuries, Bronte Campbell's struggled with some things, and then in this as well we have Cody Simpson, who is, fresh to the sport, and just coming back and seeing how difficult it is to get back into swimming.
Cody Simpson's story is an interesting one, and I note you've done some work in mentoring him. We've got the trials, the swim trials are coming up in Adelaide in a week's time. Mm-hmm. Will he qualify?
Well, look, the plan with Cody was always 2024.
Okay.
So I think, for everyone looking at this, the only reason that people will talk about 2021 for Cody is because of how much he's progressed. He was a talented young swimmer, and then, kind of turned to music because it offered an incredible opportunity to do that. But yeah, the plan for him is 2024.
Can you give us a name that right now we might not know that in 50 days, well, 50 days is when the Olympics starts, but whenever the swim component kicks off, that we'll suddenly become very familiar with here in Australia?
The dark horse I'd throw in there is Elijah Winnington. Is one to watch out for, and also Jack McLaughlin. But I think for Jack McLaughlin, it's difficult because of how tight the Olympic trials are to when the Olympic Games are going to be, and when you favour longer distance events, it's more difficult to do it. There's of course people may not know, but her name's Kaylee McEwen. She is on fire, and yeah, people just probably haven't heard that name, but she's another young swimmer that is just blowing everyone out of the water at the moment.
Thorpe, given the crazy nature of the world right now, and there's still an ongoing debate in Japan about whether the Olympics should even go ahead, it now looks increasingly, though, like even if it's just for contractual reasons with the IOC, that they'll be held in some form, regardless of how many countries can join in. Are you going to be able to go to it, or is it something where because of the restrictions around it, you're not going to be able to get there this time?
Yeah, I'd love to be there, as long as I had a jab, by the way. But I'll actually be broadcasting from Melbourne or from Sydney if things change. And it will be different Olympics, but each Olympics has unique challenges at each one, and it's for the athletes. It's the ability to be able to adapt to the circumstances that you find yourself in that's important. Because when you come to an Olympic final, there's probably 5 or 6 people that could win it on their best day. But there's very few that can win it when they've come up against more struggles. And when, there's kind of all of these changing pieces that these athletes will have to contend with at these games. It will be those that are ready for whatever circumstances are thrown at them.
Hey, Thorpe, can I ask you one weird left field question? I used to work with a guy in Sydney called Timmy Mullins, who was a sports journalist. He was a sub-editor, and he used to write beautiful headlines. He claims that he wrote the headline in the Daily Telegraph where he dubbed you the Torpedo. Is that true?
No, he lies.
Well, you've just settled a bet.
Yeah, so no, it was actually I think it was a local journalist. I don't know who, but for the local paper in the area that I grew up in.
In the Shire?
No, it was before that. So it was kind of in Milpara.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. Ah, well, there you go. You've settled that one.
Did you win the bet or not, David?
Well, we always said Tim was full of himself.
Okay, so you've won the bet. Excellent.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, Thorpe, we're looking forward to the Olympics, and I encourage everyone to watch this wonderful documentary, Head Above Water, on Amazon as of tomorrow. Appreciate your time this morning.
All right, cheers. Thank you.
Thanks, Thorpe. Ian Thorpe, our guest, lovely bloke. I had the pleasure of meeting him in Johannesburg as well when he was a World Cup bid ambassador for Australia in 2010, and it was amazing. There were all these stars being rolled out. The Poms had Beckham. Yep. David Beckham was the face of their campaign. Thorpe came out for Australia and led the charge for the Aussies.
50 days out and after that chat, that's the first time I've felt a bit excited about the Olympics, I've got to say.
Yeah, me too.
I suddenly thought, this is going to be good. Not if you...
That men's relay in Sydney, that was just absolutely mind-blowing stuff, wasn't it?
All right, let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Get a great deal on 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
Damp on the roads this morning, so do take some extra care. But so far, so good. Shouldn't have too many hassles on the drive into work today. Simply roadworks to look out for. Mount Osborne on the freeway up track. Speed and lane restrictions apply for works there. And Salisbury East, slow going there at the moment. Main North Road, Kings McIntyre Road intersection. Speeds down to 40. And around FIVEaa Drive, Goodwood Road and Dawes Road, that intersection upgrade also speeds down to 40 k's this morning too. Bob J. T-Mart's huge Pirelli one-day sale is on now. Today only, the whole Pirelli range will have 35% off. Don't forget their best tyre price guarantee. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
We've noted the gender split in the Meat Tray Friday entries this morning, currently sitting at 0% female, 100% male for people talking about their go-to karaoke song. It's time to incentivise things. If we can get a female caller in right now on 8223 0000 to nominate their go-to karaoke song and be in the running to win the wonderful Gaucho's Meat Tray, 8223 0000, I promise you, I've located some audio of an exceptional karaoke performance that I will play. And you hear nervous laughter in the background.
What?
You hear some nervous laughter in the background. I'm not going to say
just
any more.
see Andy looking out, sitting out there in the booth with
so
a
get
mischievous
calling,
look on
and
his face.
if we can get a call right now, we will deliver to you the entertainment. If you deliver to us some Meat Tray Friday entries, okay? That's coming up.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen. If you thought it was tricky to source a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen, think again. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has loaded up on new stock. That's a massive range of new Volkswagens available for delivery right now. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
The Snooze End of Financial Year sale is now on. Save up to 50% off mattresses and up to 40% off bed frames. And this week only, take an extra 10% off all mattresses. Hurry, sale now on. Exclusions, T's and C's apply.
Amazing what a little snooze can do.
The Peter Shearer Menswear mid-year event is on now. Save up to 50%. Wool suits from $249.95. New season overcoats from $199. Shoes from just $99.95. And business shirts up to 50% off. Don't miss the Peter Shearer Menswear up to 50% off mid-year event. Peter Shearer Menswear, Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker or petershearer.com.au. Peter Shearer Menswear, always the brand with the brands.
I got to say, I've used the Stanislavski method for this live read. Will I've been living this for years because I'm a proud supporter of these people.
You've pretended to be a plant.
Well, no, you're standing in the backyard pretending to be a fruit tree. No, that's not true. Look, it's Balhanna Nurseries. Everyone knows the green bag. Everyone who knows gardening knows exactly what I'm talking about when I say the green bag. They are the first and last word in fruit tree gardening in South Australia, and I can tell you firsthand, there's nothing like growing your own fruit. It is fantastic, particularly if you've got kids. They love it. They go, hey, look, there's a Granny Smith. I'm going to eat it. And there is nothing better than eating an apple straight off the tree. Right now, it's the perfect time to start planting Balhanna Nursery deciduous trees. The range is enormous from Balhanna. Apple trees, pear trees, peaches, apricots, nectarines, plums, and more. Word of warning, don't be surprised if the neighbours lean over the fence and help themselves because everybody loves Balhanna Nursery's fruit trees. So look for Balhanna Nursery's deciduous trees. You'll find them not just in my backyard, you'll find them in the green bags at your local nurseries. They grow like absolute topsy. I've never had a problem with them. They are superbly bred and selected. Grow your own, buy local, buy better with Balhanna Nurseries.
Thanks to the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, in just 2 weeks you could be making a decision between a Porsche Taycan or $300,000 cash. Plus, your ticket stays in the draw to win a stunning Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade at South Brighton that comes with $1 million cash. Just imagine watching sunsets from the balcony of your fully furnished home overlooking the beach. Join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care by purchasing your tickets today at homelottery.com.au. Licence M139899.
If the thought of this as a job drives you crazy, you might want a job like this. Here's Chris from ASIC Careers to tell you how.
Thanks, Rowie. ASIC Careers is growing, and we need more drivers to keep our promise of perfect service. So if you want a career that takes you places, get in touch with ASIC Couriers. Don't send it, ace it.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Buy 3, get 1 free on top tyre brands. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
All right, we've wanted to get the gender skew right on the meat tray entries this morning. The ladies have come to the party, and so will I. Sarah in Somerton Park, good morning to you. What's your go-to karaoke song?
My go-to is Midnight Oil, Beds Are Burning.
That's a good one, Sarah. Thank you. Andrea in Williamstown, good morning.
Good morning. Only at the end of the night, only after several beverages, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh, good one, Andrea. Oh, that's bold.
That's a very demanding song.
Tina in Mitchell Park, what's yours?
Okay, early evening is Hotel California, late evening is Roadhouse Blues.
Oh, Jim Morrison.
Oh, now that's tremendous. Now, you've all done a wonderful service on behalf of the other 50,000 people listening right now. Because I said, well, look, if we have to incentivise this, we will. And this is a karaoke conversation, and it is being conducted by, in part, one of the great exponents of karaoke singing in this town, David Penberthy. Here is some of David Penberthy.
It's me, I'm happy, come home. So go, Ringo, Ringo. It's me, I'm happy, come home.
Oh, the man himself.
Is that off Andy's phone?
It's on
off Andy's phone from the Christmas party
it's
a couple of years ago, I think.
It's off someone's phone. There it is.
What about the crowd?
Sensational.
What about the crowd getting into it?
Yeah, they were. It was all of us, I think.
Dozens of people. Lucy dancing away.
All right, let's talk weather. Gertie Sperling from 7 News joins us. Sorry about that, Gertie, and good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Yeah, we're good.
Well, we were all right until that happened. Thanks for sorry to subject you to that too, Gertie.
Yeah, that was brutal.
No. Hey, Gertie, don't hold back. Hey, what's happening weather-wise this weekend?
Well, guys, if you've been outside this morning, you might notice it's a little bit damp underfoot. We have had the odd shower, not a lot in the gauge, though. In West Terrace, we've just notched up just over 1 millimetre, and the shower activity will clear sort of throughout the morning, sort of drying out by late morning, really. So probably not much left in that at all, really. To take a look at the radar, there's just a few spots here and there, but yeah, really not a lot about. But heading for a top of 17 today, which is pretty nice, not too bad, clearing up. So we'll see some patches of sunshine this afternoon. And then tomorrow is looking a little bit better, 17, still dry. There could be just the odd spot about the hills in the afternoon and evening. And then Sunday up to 19 degrees, Monday 20, but then we do have a front rolling through, and that's when we could really see a decent drink of rain, 5 to 15 millimetres forecast Monday, 10 to 20 on Tuesday, and then drying out midweek. So fingers crossed we will get a little bit of rain then, because it has been really dry lately, and obviously overnight there wasn't really much in that at all.
Good on you, Gertie. Thank you for that. Gertie Sperling from 7 News here in Adelaide. Now, Matty Portferrell on Twitter has made a very fair observation, and he said, is it fair to play Pembo singing just before Blakey's end of the week song rap? Perhaps not, but we're not in the business of fair. It's entertainment first. Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64. Here it is.
The requirement on the Collingwood team will be that they have to now go into quarantine in Victoria, and so they will not be coming into contact with anybody, any South Australian, except the players in the Crows team.
I like AFL, or should I say it's okay with me? But is it worth risking ruin to our livelihood for old Collingwood? They said they could come even though they're in lockdown again. But why should there be an exemption for big sweaty men?
It's the Christmas party hangover that spilled into a courtroom. MPs Sam DeLuc and Connie Benares today came face to face once again. Former Liberal and now Independent Sam DeLuc allegedly gate-crashed the event, intoxicated, and slapped the SA Best MP on the bottom. Then she told him to sit the down.
Sam DeLuc, it came to pass. May or may not have slapped her on the ass. Deliberating, the court will find whether or not he touched her behind. Here's the thing, if you go to a party and you've been drinking, don't put ice on women and then lift them up. When they're sitting in their chairs, just no good to say you're just misunderstood. Ooh, how that hurt. Ooh, how that hurt.
If you are at Adelaide Oval and the ball comes towards you, my advice to you is to duck and just do not touch that ball.
Don't touch that ball. Don't touch that ball. Don't touch that ball.
Do not touch that ball.
Don't touch that. Don't touch that ball.
Do not touch that ball.
Don't touch that ball. Don't touch that ball.
Do not touch that ball.
Don't touch that ball.
Do not touch that. Do not touch that
ball.
Do not touch that ball.
I think Dan Andrews made the Triple J's Hottest 100 last year for his foray into COVID-related music.
Yeah, when he
I think
said,
Nicola
"Get on the
Spurrier-
beers."
Get on the beers.
Get on the beers.
Nicola Spurrier might be in next year.
She's a huge chance.
Big
Why not?
chance, along
Why
with John
not?
Blake. All right, 5AA News time. More from John Blake after 8:30 when we go behind closed doors.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A morning shower or two and 17 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
Canberra is backing a plan to build a purpose-built COVID quarantine facility in Victoria. It's handed the state government a memorandum of understanding for the project. The Morrison government likes the site next to Avalon Airport and is keen to make the official announcement today. State opposition leader Peter Malinauskas says SA needs to follow suit and not rely so heavily on hotel quarantine.
Unfortunately, COVID will be with us for some time to come. There are still a lot of Australians that need to come home and will into the future. We need purpose-built quarantine around the country, including in South Australia, so that we can keep our community safe, but also keep our economy with the best chance of retaining jobs.
A chartered flight from India will touch down in Adelaide at lunchtime today with 150 Australians on board. The passengers will be taken to the Pullman Medi Hotel where they'll quarantine and undergo daily COVID testing. It's the first flight into SA from India since the nationwide pause last month. Premier Stephen Marshall says extra precautions have been put in place to prevent transmission.
We have made changes to the way that we operate with this particular flight because we are doing extensive testing and isolation in India before the flight. This is extraordinarily important so that we can mitigate against the risk, which is this variant of concern.
The US is setting an ambitious target of sending 80 million COVID vaccinations across the world by the end of the month. 25% of the promised doses will be kept in the US as an emergency reserve, with the rest shared by partners, allies and countries hit hardest by the pandemic. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says 3/4 will go to COVAX and the rest to countries who've asked for help.
We're sharing them in a wide range of countries within Latin America and the Caribbean, South and Southeast Asia, and across Africa in coordination with the African Union. This includes prioritizing our neighbors here in our hemisphere, including countries like Guatemala and Colombia, Peru and Ecuador.
Brittany Higgins has been hospitalised. It's to safeguard her mental well-being, sources citing months of political pressure. The former Liberal staffer has alleged she was raped by a colleague at Parliament House in 2019. Meat processing giant JBS has announced its operations are back to normal after a cyber attack. Processing around the world, including in Australia, was stopped when the company was hit by ransomware coming from Russia. The Queen will host US President Joe Biden at Windsor Castle next weekend as he embarks on his first overseas tour since his inauguration. 9's Ben Avery reports.
The Queen has been holding most public engagements via video link during the pandemic, but the US President will receive special treatment. Buckingham Palace has revealed Her Majesty will meet Joe Biden and First Lady Jill in person at Windsor Castle next Sunday. It will follow the President's meetings with world leaders at the G7 summit in Cornwall, which begins 3 days earlier. The 95-year-old Queen has met 12 other American presidents during her 69-year reign.
Princess Diana's wedding dress will go on display at Kensington Palace today. Original sketches, fabric swatches and unseen photos will also be on show. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Transform your 12-volt and camping setup with kick-ass products from australiandirect.com.au.
With everything footy, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Yeah, let's begin there. Adelaide to hold a light training session this morning ahead of tomorrow's clash against Collingwood. The Crows have brought back midfielder Ronan O'Connor. Round 12 gets underway tonight with Melbourne taking on Brisbane. To tennis, world number 1 Ash Barty has been forced to retire from her second-round match at Roland Garros due to a left hip injury. The top seed says she sustained the injury on the weekend when she came down on her leg after a serve during practice.
Unlucky with timing more than anything. To have something kind of acute happen over the weekend and just kind of run out of time against the clocks is disappointing, but it won't take away the brilliant 3 months that we've had as much as it hurts right now.
To soccer, and Australia's had a comfortable 3-0 win against Kuwait in their World Cup qualifier this morning. Meantime, Adelaide United has qualified for the A-League finals despite being held to a 2-2 draw against Western Sydney. The Sydney Kings have beaten Illawarra by 6 points in the NBL to keep their finals hopes alive. Meantime, Ben Simmons recorded a triple-double to help the Philadelphia 76ers wrap up their series against the Washington Wizards. They won Game 5, 129 to 112 to secure the series 4-1. Joe Ingles' Utah Jazz also through after a 126 to 110-point win against Memphis. One game in the NRL overnight with St George cementing their spot in the top 8 after crushing the Brisbane Broncos 52 to 24. And in some cricket to finish, New Zealand's Devon Conway has blasted 200 in his test debut against England at Lords. The Black Caps dismissed for 378 in their first innings, with England 2 for 111 at stumps on day 2 in reply. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great deal and 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
Good morning. Wet and damp roads this morning, so do take some extra care on the way to work. But no big accidents at the moment, which is good, so you should have a hassle-free run. Simply roadworks to look out for today. Mount Osmond, the freeway up track. Speed and lane restrictions apply for works there. Salisbury East, speeds down to 40 at the main North Road, Kings McIntyre Road intersection. And at Goodwood Road and Dawes Road, speeds also down to 40 for that intersection upgrade as well. Wake up to sleep at the 40 Wink stock tag sale for up to 50% off store-wide. Plus, this week only, get an extra 10% off a huge range of products. 40 Winks, serious about sleep. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's end of financial year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
A morning shower or two today and a top of 17. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 17. Sunday much the same and 19. Monday showers developing and 20. Right now it's 12 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
No one wants to spend their weekend in emergency. So if you hurt yourself on a Saturday or Sunday, Dr. Greg Keane says come and see SportsMed instead.
The doctors at our weekend injury clinic can treat any sporting or orthopaedic injuries right away. You won't have to wait all afternoon.
And a standard consult costs less than a private hospital emergency department, right?
Much less.
World-class care without the wait. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your injury.
Sportsmed.com.au.
Hi, Bronte Manuel from Toop and Toop. The weather may be cooling down, but Adelaide property prices are hot. If you've been thinking of selling your home, now is the time. But it's not as simple as listing your house and watching the dollars flow in. A knowledgeable, hard-working agent can have a huge impact on the end result. The wrong one can literally cost you thousands. If you're thinking of selling and want to work with Australia's most awarded real estate agency, call Toop and Toop on 8362 8888 or go to toop.com.au.
Escape the city this winter and enjoy some quality time by the Murray. Why not book your next getaway to the beautiful town of Mannum? With the help of SA Weekend Escapes, plan an outdoor trip in the fresh winter air. Find the best things to see and do and uncover our latest hotel offers for stays around SA. Plus, book your getaway with one of 10 SA hotels this winter and you'll receive a complimentary bottle of Penfolds Red to warm up your trip. Visit saweekendescapes.com.au to find out more. Holiday here this year.
If you're looking for a used vehicle, you've got to get to North Point Toyota. Their used vehicle stock is constantly changing at Hillcrest, Prospect and Port Augusta. You'll get benefits like North Point Toyota's certified pre-owned program, offering a range of benefits that no private seller could, like 12 months roadside assist on Toyota certified used vehicles, plus 7-day exchange if you're not totally satisfied. North Point Toyota's used stock is constantly changing. It's the North Point way. Hillcrest, Prospect, Port Augusta or northpointtoyota.com.au.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
A little oddity in the traffic report a moment ago. Goat on the road in Aldinga. Beware of the goat.
There's a new segment we call Goat Watch. We got Fuel Watch. Now we got Goat Watch.
We got Goat Watch.
Waller's voucher, $100 Waller's voucher in the offing if you can give us a live goat report from Aldinga.
We want the goat that's on the loose in Aldinga. A description of its look.
Yeah.
Its demeanour. Maybe its motives. Let's talk federal politics. Following on from Goat Watch, it's just a sort of a natural segue, isn't it? Phil Curry from the Fin Review joins us in the nation's capital. Morning to you, Phil.
Big news day, is it, down there?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, mate. It's all happening in Adelaide.
Ian Thorpe. Thorpe, one thing we learned in the documentary is you don't like being called Ian.
Well, I'd much prefer Thorpe.
All right, we'll go with Thorpe then. We're happy with that.
The reality of being an athlete is you're always going to have a finite career. It's a career that can end any day of the week because of injury or what may happen. And so you accept that.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
11 after 8. If you know someone who would benefit from a new Windows 10 PC laptop, let us know. And maybe, along with our good friends at Leader Computers, we can help. They're our good friends because we're both local Adelaide businesses. All you need to do is visit the 5AA win page and tell us in 25 words who should be awarded with a Leader Computers Windows 10 PC laptop and why. They are the largest 100% Australian PC brand built right here in Adelaide. If anything ever goes wrong, which is unlikely because it was made in Adelaide, you ring someone who's here in Adelaide.
Yep.
Who knows probably things about where you are and what you're using it for and all sorts of stuff.
Some offshore call centre.
Exactly right.
Yep.
So simply Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller. Breaking 8 coming up in a moment. Orazio Fantasia from the Port Adelaide Football Club. And then after 8:30, we're going to be catching up with Elspeth Hussey from 7 News and going behind closed doors. But let's go breaking it 8.
Well, you remember a couple of weeks ago there were ugly scenes at a football match between Edwardstown and Ingle Farm involving an umpire, a young umpire. These young men predominantly who get paid not much to officiate games so that everyone can get out there and ostensibly have fun. The incident was so bad that it attracted the attention of SAPOL. Well, I can tell you, there's one person who has taken an extremely dim view of what happened that day, and it's John Kernahan. He's a cracking bloke who heads up the Adelaide Football League, which represents all of these grassroots clubs. Now, every week, John sends out a missive called The Update. And normally it's, light-hearted, fun and a few gags and everything else. Well, this one began, there's at least always one no-fun edition of the update per season, and this is it. And to use a Roweism, John comes off the top turnbuckle here saying that the Adelaide Football League is at the end of its tether with the fact that these incidents keep cropping up from time to time, and outlining some pretty stern responses should it happen again. I'll just read some of it to you, because the way it's written, people should be left in no doubt as to what the Adelaide Football League is thinking about doing. It says, and it's long, but I'll get down to the juicy bit. It says, if anyone believes this current focus will be tomorrow's fish and chip wrapping, they are kidding themselves. Our own experience over time has us able to confidently, though sadly, predict that the Australian Rules Code, more than any other code, will feel the heat from this incident for some time. It is a legacy of being the number one sport in Australia, with a focus and attention that other codes can avoid. Sunday's matter, and this is the thing about Edwardstown and Ingle Farm, is specific to SANFL juniors and they'll manage it. But juniors become seniors, and while we want them and indeed rely on them to become tomorrow's senior participants, we do not want them to inherit behaviour that contradicts our own values, so we'll be supporting the SANFL in their endeavours to address this at junior level before the die is cast and without question. If we compare a football match to that of a workplace, and it is perilously close, Safe Work SA may have come in and closed our operation down after the weekend, i.e. our duty of care to our employees. The Umpires Association and the League have never been on the same page as much as we are right now, and we are tabling a range of options should our concerns not be allayed. You may read or interpret the following as you please, but do not think for one moment the appointment of umpires to a match of footy is a God-given right. The minority who test this, who continue to test this, may be in for a reminder very quickly what it is like to have to round up club umpires when the League and Umpires Association choose not to send an umpire to officiate, or alternately, an umpire refuses to accept an appointment to a given club. So they're saying there, if you don't start behaving yourselves, you won't get an umpire.
Well, what becomes of the fixture then?
We'll have to scramble around to find one somehow. It's acceptable to both teams. But you'd think at such short notice that a lot of those games wouldn't go ahead. But I think that, what happened was totally unacceptable, and good on the Adelaide Footy League for taking things as seriously as they clearly are.
Getting some great text through on the Telstra Still Mount Barker text line this morning. I love what Lisa's done here. She says, guys, tying two themes together. My husband Bob's favourite karaoke song is Cheap Wine and a Three-Legged Goat. Thank you, Lisa.
What are they called? Misunderstood rock lyrics?
Mondegreen?
Mondegreens, is it? Is that the word?
Is it a Mondegreen? Yeah. Lisa's nodding her head.
Like, excuse me while I kiss this guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Or Alex the Seal by the Go-Go's.
Scott from Modbury says, boys, you know I listen by headphones. We had an agreement. Pembo is not allowed to sing. My neighbour is an OH&S officer. I'm going to have to get him involved because I'm pretty sure laws were broken. Let us know, Scott. Wouldn't be the first time on this program.
Andy should be charged. He was the one who uploaded the audio from his phone.
Our legal department is always at the ready. Just know.
What happens at the Christmas party stays at the Christmas party. I thought that was the rule.
Well, we need to get our female listeners calling in, David. They're smart enough to know that they can get a little bit of an incentive if they wait. I like this one too. Cookie, David says, good luck with your house sale. Back in April, you said, if the Tokyo Olympics go ahead, you'll put your house on the market.
Yeah, I did, didn't I?
50 days out. You got 50 days.
50 days.
For it to be cancelled.
All right. Not looking good, though, is it?
Otherwise, look, if anyone's interested, there will be a lovely family home in Wayville up for sale.
That's right.
Really exciting.
Oh, well, have to go and live in Aldinga. You beauty.
Yeah, I think you've done this. You've never had any doubt that the Olympics would go ahead. 17 after 8, Orazio Fantasia in a moment. Let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Get a great deal on 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
Wet and damp on a few roads around the area today, so do take some extra care. Busy on the drive into Torrens Park, Torrens Road inbound Greenshields Place to Wattle Street. At Gilman Port River Expressway, the north-south motorway on-ramp to Perkins Drive as you're heading towards Port Adelaide. And a couple of speed cameras to look out for this morning. Kelly Road, Modbury, South Terrace, Paraka and Stradbroke Road at Athelston. The Amazon.com.au mid-year sale is live now with great deals. Plus, new customers get free delivery on your first eligible order. T's and C's apply. Shop Amazon.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Like the Clydesdales at Victor, or our loveless pair of pandas. From crossing the bridge to a showdown, to the serene Murray River. Things that make our fine state. It's who we are. Local, iconic, proud. As SASAA. Live, local, and always informing Adelaide. 5AA.
The Peter Shearer menswear mid-year event is on now. Save up to 50%. Wool suits from $249.95. New season overcoats from $199. Shoes from just $99.95. and business shirts up to 50% off. Don't miss the Peter Shearer Menswear up to 50% off mid-year event. Peter Shearer Menswear, Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker or petershearer.com.au. Peter Shearer Menswear, always the brand with the brands.
Get more at Mawson Lakes Volkswagen. If you thought it was tricky to source a great end of financial year deal on a new Volkswagen, think again. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen has loaded up on new stock. That's a massive range of new Volkswagens available for delivery right now. And remember Mawson Lakes Volkswagen for servicing too, with next day servicing and free loan cars. Get a great deal on Volkswagen now. Mawson Lakes Volkswagen, just a short drive from the city.
Tomorrow, of course, is a Saturday, and then they come around quick, but I think not quickly enough.
Once a week.
It's only once a week.
Yeah.
I'd have 3 Saturdays, and they'd all be
cheap as chips,
built around going to cheap as chips, because their Super Saturday, David, means incredible deals.
You know, I love the cheap as chips catalogue. Who can forget the Santa Mankini? Remember that?
Well, I can't.
Oh, I mean, it's hard to forget it.
You didn't need to wear it in.
That's right. Now, look, what crazy goodness do the cheap as chips people have for us this week? I'll tell you.
Yeah.
Life will never be the same again in your kitchen, or indeed generally, with a digital air fryer, only $79. Save $20 right now, cheap as chips.
You ever notice that people get a digital air fryer? You always are aware of it because they don't.
They're like
they won't shut up about it.
What's the word? Proselytizing.
They are.
They're like zealots.
Spreading the word.
They're like born again frying people. Where they just want to share the gospel of the air fryer.
The good news digital
Have
air
you got
fryer.
an air fryer? You got to get an air fryer.
Oh come on, you haven't lived. Move up in the world with a steel step ladder, 150 kilo capacity, just $29.
Cheap as chips. There's plenty more in store, like 20-pack puppy training pads, whatever they are. They're only $10 though, which is cheap. And you also get 20% off all security products.
For more Super Saturday deals, see the back page of this week's Cheap as Chips catalogue or check them out for yourself at your local Cheap as Chips tomorrow.
This fresh $14.99 a kilo Aussie rump steak is so juicy you'll want to lick your plate and your fork and your steak knife. Okay, don't lick the steak knife. I'll be good. This one.
Adelaide Tools' massive Makita bonus blitz is now on. Get in quick for Adelaide's best deals on Makita. Get a bonus Makita 18-volt blower and 18-volt inflator. Plus, a bonus skin via redemption when you purchase selected Makita brushless combo kits. That's right, 3 massive Makita bonuses. Plus, get a bonus 5 amp-hour battery when you buy any 2 18-volt skins. There's also 20% off all Makita accessories and great deals on batteries and chargers too. Adelaide Tools, trusted brands, trusted service since 1949.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 minutes after 8. Get a Puritap this month at special end of financial year prices. Puritap.com.au.
Orazio Fantasia. Intercepted almost by Orazio Fantasia. Orazio Fantasia. Orazio Fantasia. Orazio Fantasia. Orazio. Ho, ho, ho. It's magic. You know.
It's the bye week for Port Adelaide, so I imagine Orazio's right now sitting at home with a dressing gown on, the slippers, mug of coffee, just relaxing. Morning to you, Orazio.
I was doing that earlier.
Right.
I thought I'd get changed for the interview.
Oh, good man. Good man.
Mate, no, you don't need... everyone works from home these days. You can wear Ugg boots when you're doing Microsoft Teams stuff. You don't need to dress up for us.
No, I just out of respect, I thought I'd dress up. The Uggies, the pink Uggies probably wasn't a good look.
Pink Uggies.
Can you do nothing in the bye weekend, or is there specific instruction about, doing some sort of match-loaded level training, or can you just relax?
Oh, we should do some training. Tomorrow we'll have a decent hit out. It won't be game-like, I wouldn't have thought, but just a good session just to tick the legs over and feel good, because you want to be fresh after the bye. You don't really want to play a game, I guess, in training and then be still a bit sore or whatever. It's the idea just to freshen up and feel good and be ready to go for Thursday.
8-3 at the break, 5th on the ladder. What's your assessment of the year so far for Port?
Yeah, I think it's been pretty good, and I still feel like we've got some improvement to go. So obviously we didn't play well against a couple of teams who are ahead of us on the ladder, but we understand why. And I think we fixed that against Fremantle. We knew Fremantle wanted to do something similar to Collingwood, who sort of held the ball the week before. And I feel like our first quarter on the weekend was, that's how we play our best footy, and it was front half, and it was just sort of goal after goal. It was pretty intimidating for the opposition.
Yeah, it was one of those games. I must admit, I didn't see it, but I checked my app at quarter time and went, well, that's that one done. You flattened them from the get-go.
Yeah, and I think that's probably been a focus of ours as well. Like our first quarters probably haven't been where we want them to be. So that was really pleasing. And then we sort of went away a little bit in the second and third quarter of how we had been playing, and then we got back to it in the last quarter. So if we can just sort of play that consistent brand of footy, I think we'll see some big improvement for the back half of the year.
The bye sort of feels psychologically like the halfway point of the year, I think. Give us an opportunity for you to reflect on back here playing footy in South Australia and in Adelaide. I'm really interested to hear what you've noted the differences have been about the culture of footy and playing footy in Adelaide v Melbourne, or are they not as pronounced as we might think they are?
No, I think they are, and I think Adelaide is probably more football orientated than Melbourne, if that makes sense. I mean, Melbourne, obviously there's more teams, but in terms of if you're not playing well or if you're out of the top 8, I guess found myself a couple of times out of that at Essendon, and we were sort of not really spoken about too much. It was more if you were playing well, then it was a lot more sort of heightened. But here, you sort of can't escape whether you're playing well or you're playing bad. It's just always on.
We're obsessed.
Yeah, footy obsessed, which is I do like it, but I think the thing that affected me in Melbourne is I couldn't switch off because I didn't have my family as such to be able to do so. I had lots of good footy mates, but it was still footy.
Yeah.
I sort of would hang out with those guys, but, we'd end up talking about footy, or we'd get back to training during the day or something like that. Whereas here, it's just, okay, how was your day, Dad? He went to work or whatever. Mum, same thing. It's not really how was training or how was footy.
So it's like an outlet.
Nice. Yeah, it's a nice outlet.
Yeah.
How are you feeling about the situation with the knee, mate? You've had the clean out. Have you got a strong sense of when you'll be back, and how's it feeling today?
Yeah, it's feeling really good today. Day one, it's fair to say, I was in a bit of strife. I couldn't hold down any food, and I was starving. So,
oh, really?
I tried to keep eating, and I kept chucking it back up. But Mum kept trying to feed me, which was nice of her.
Did you have a reaction to the anaesthetic or something or other?
I think so.
Oh, nasty.
Yeah, so it was a bit nasty day one, but I'm definitely back feeling good. I spoke to the surgeon the other day. And he reckons once the swelling sort of gets out, we should be able to get moving pretty quickly. So, sort of 3 to 4 weeks would be ideal.
We'll ask you the same question, Orazio, that we asked Tom Duday when he came on earlier in the week at the halfway mark of the season. And I should put a little asterisk next to this because the dude said he thought you guys were in the mix. Who do you like for the flag?
Oh, well, us, obviously. Come on, don't be silly.
Oh, it was a trap. It was a trap question.
But more broadly, I mean, who do you think of the other contenders? Who are the sides you think are really the ones to watch as well, apart from Port?
I think the toughest team we played so far this year was definitely Richmond and Brisbane. Obviously, the West Coast game we didn't get off to a great start, so that wasn't ideal for us over there, and we were it was tough from the get-go. But I think Brisbane, the way they're playing at the moment, they're going to be pretty hard to beat. Also Richmond, they're just starting to get everyone back now, which is pretty scary for them once they start to get fully fit again and when they're up and going. So I think those 3 teams, including us, are the ones, and you can't probably count out Geelong either as well. They're going really, really well, and when you add in Cameron into that forward line, it's pretty dangerous already. So, they're the teams that I sort of see around the mark.
Yeah. Feels like you guys are set where people like yourself, you're getting clean-out work done in the middle of the year. Others like, obviously, Zach Barters have had longer-term concerns, but it feels like the trajectory is you'll be all back up and running at full strength going into finals, and that must give you real sort of positive thoughts about where the season's heading.
Definitely, and I think Durs will be back soon, and hopefully Butsy too. And that's probably the hardest thing with with football, you can't sort of predict these injuries, and if we can get everyone back for finals, like you said, it definitely gives you confidence going in, and you sort of want to build towards the back end of the season. If that, you don't want to be coming out all guns blazing, and I understand it's nice to win as much as you can, but if you sort of start to get too many injuries late towards the end of the season, it definitely makes it hard. So, I think we're heading in the right direction.
Well, mate, put the dressing gown back on. Yep. Your work here is done.
Thank you, guys. I'll definitely slip it straight back on.
Ratio Fantasia. Thanks to Puritap. You can get one this month at special end of financial year prices. Puritap.com.au.
Avanti Care. Avanti Care. It's important to remember because you may need to call on Avanti Care. It could be for physio treatment, occupational therapy, speech pathology, dietetics or podiatry. It's care delivered with purpose. That purpose might be to get you back to work, enjoying an active life with friends or family, or simply just getting you back to being you. Avanti Care. Real care delivered with real purpose. Visit avanticare.com.au.
Here at 5AA, we're all about supporting local. See Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers in Top Hat, plus the Kensington and Norwood Brass Band, Sunday 13 June 2:30pm. Capri Theatre Goodwood, capri.org.au.
Now, it's no secret we're great supporters of local business, doing it really well in South Australia. One of those that we can all be proud of is Rundle Blinds and Curtains in Kings Park. Kings Park, they themselves, they're kings
They are
of
the kings
blinds
of
and
Kings
curtains.
Park.
Family owned and operated. They're really big on service. They are the best in blinds, David.
I can attest to that. I've been in there a couple of times. It's a superb showroom. You can trust Rundle Blinds and Curtains to deliver amazing results when it comes to your blinds, awnings, shutters and curtains. In fact, how about this? Rundle Blinds and Curtains, just showing off. They were recently awarded the Luxaflex Gallery of the Year. They've won it 5 times, if you don't mind.
5-time. First ballot Hall of Famers, the best in blinds. We're lucky to be living in this era of blinds.
We are. 5 in a row. What about that? Well, cumulatively 5.
Well, I mean, over an era of just pure domination in the
That's
blind
right.
business.
Exactly.
Ian, Sam and the entire team will take care of you to ensure that you get the perfect result to suit your home and lifestyle. So for anything blinds, awnings, shutters and curtains, get in touch with the wonderful, award-winning, greatest of all time team at Rundle Blinds and Curtains.
Get into their showroom like I do. Go there, 305 Goodwood Road, just down from the Crossroad Macca's, 305 Goodwood Road, Kings Park, or go online at rundleblinds.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A morning shower or two, 17 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
There are 4 new COVID cases in Victoria today. Just under 50,000 tests were conducted in the past 24 hours. Meantime, Victoria will be home to a Howard Springs-style quarantine facility, but its location is yet to be decided. The federal government has committed to building the complex, which the state would then run. Acting Premier James Merlino says their preference is Mickleham, north of Melbourne, but the Morrison government has previously indicated it would like to see it built at Avalon.
The Commonwealth hasn't indicated, and we have not yet landed on exactly which site, but either one will work.
State and territory leaders will be briefed on whether the COVID vaccine should be mandatory for aged care workers when they come together today. Nine's Michael Packey has more.
About 20% of aged care workers are known to have been vaccinated out of a total workforce of 360,000. Of the people who've had the COVID shot, it's mainly been at their nursing home. The Prime Minister, along with Premiers and Chief Ministers, will today be briefed by medical officials as to whether it should be compulsory for all staff in the sector to be vaccinated and how such a measure is implemented. National Cabinet will also discuss the new COVID disaster payment for people who are locked down for more than a week.
The US is sending 25 million doses of coronavirus vaccines to countries in need. About 3/4 of the drugs will go to the international vaccination program COVAX and the rest sent to regions who've asked for aid. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan says with more than 40% of the US population vaccinated, it's simply the right thing to do.
We're in a position to help others, so we will help others. And as the President has said, the United States will not use its vaccines to secure favors from other countries.
There's been an attempted firebombing at Davern Park. Senior Constable Kimberly Broad says they were called to a house on Birdsmore Road just before 8 last night.
A man was seen throwing 2 Molotov cocktails onto the roof of the property. He's then run off. Now, thankfully, those items didn't explode and only caused some minor damage to the roof, and nobody was injured.
Investigations are continuing. A Victorian woman is the latest person charged by New South Wales Police over an email scam in Syndicate. Detectives have been investigating a multi-million-dollar scheme targeting companies across the country by altering invoices. The 25-year-old is the 18th person to be charged for their involvement. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Transform your 12-volt and camping setup with kick-ass products from australiandirect.com.au.
And it's over to Tom Wren, who has everything to do with sport. You got some breaking news there, Tom, as well.
Yeah, we certainly do, and this has come from the Adelaide Football Club literally in just the last 30 seconds or so, Mel, and they've just released a statement saying they want the AFL to investigate claims that several players and staff were not appropriately wearing masks on a return flight from Sydney last Sunday. The club also acknowledges the government requirement for people to wear masks in airports and on all domestic commercial flights to minimise the risk of transmission of COVID-19. So we'll have more on that story in the next half hour or so. Well, meantime, Port Adelaide forward Orazio Fantasia says he's recovering well from knee surgery he had earlier this week, but the 25-year-old has told David and Will he'll still be on the sidelines for at least a couple of games.
I spoke to the surgeon the other day. And he reckons once the swelling sort of gets out, we should be able to get moving pretty quickly. So, sort of 3 to 4 weeks would be ideal.
The Power have the bye this weekend while the Crows take on Collingwood tomorrow. They're brought back midfielder Ronan O'Connor while Sam Berry is out injured and Nick Murray has been dropped. To soccer, and Australia has maintained its perfect start to World Cup qualifying after recording a 3-0 win against Kuwait. It's the Socceroos' first match in 18 months and means they're now 5 wins from 5 matches in their group. Meantime, Adelaide United will play finals in the A-League after recording a 2-2 draw against Western Sydney overnight. Australia has no singles players left in the French Open meantime after a bad night at Roland Garros. Ash Barty was forced to withdraw because of a hip complaint, while Astra Sharma, Alex de Minaur and James Duckworth all lost. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great deal and 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles at Dave Potter Honda.
At Houghton, Lower North East Road, Truck v Embankment there. It's about 1k before the Paracombe Road intersection. Salisbury Heights, a 2-car smash at Grove Way and Nicholas Avenue. That's on the down track and slowing things down. Busy on the drive in Torrens Park inbound. That's Torrens Road between Greenshields Place to Wattle Street and Seaton Tapley's Hill Road. Trimmer Parade to Grange Road. That's as you're heading towards the airport. Have you been dreaming of an Audi? Now you can turn your dreams into a reality with the Audi End of Financial Year event. On now at your preferred Audi dealer. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Audi's End of Financial Year event is on now. Visit audisolitaire.com.au.
17 for your Friday, a morning shower or two. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 17. Sunday, much the same, up to 19. Right now, it's 13 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Thanks to Light and Easy, Australians of all ages can enjoy their choice of delicious, nutritious meals in the comfort and safety of their own home. Especially those of us getting a little older, as we need to keep eating well to age well. If you or someone close to you could benefit by having Light and Easy's delicious, healthy meals delivered to their door, visit lightandeasy.com.au or call us on 13 15 12.
Whether you're a Sparky, a Chippy, a Fiery or a Bikey, whether they call you Curly, Tubby or Tiny, whether next door means a few feet or a few miles, we know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries End of Financial Year Sale. Built to last.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
22 to 9. Just heard Tom Wren in 5AA News read some breaking news from the Adelaide Football Club. Really peculiar statement that they've just released. I'll read it out to you. The Adelaide Football Club has asked the AFL to investigate claims that several players and staff were not appropriately wearing masks on a flight from Sydney last Sunday. The club acknowledges the government requirement for people to wear masks in airports and all domestic commercial flights to minimise the risk of COVID.
Was there some dobbing narc on the plane who said their masks weren't quite on properly?
The club is fully cooperating with the league and awaits the findings of the investigation.
So that was coming back from the Richmond game?
Yeah, well, that was
in Sydney.
In Sydney, yeah, it was in Sydney, wasn't it? It was in Western Sydney.
Yeah. So there's someone on the plane who's going, "Oh, I don't think their masks are
Isn't
on."
it? I just find the way the way the AFL works is bizarre. You know, calling so the Crows are trying to say we're throwing ourselves at the mercy of investigation. We'll do everything. We're not in the business of trying to obfuscate or complain about the rules. We're going to comply at all times. But it's just this peculiar AFL language. Like, well, let's get the AFL to investigate. What? They went on the plane, were they? What are they going to do?
How will they be able to check? Is there CCTV on planes?
I don't know, but surely. Anyway, that'll be doubtless something that becomes a news story.
You know, something I find weird. There's currently 13 people in hospital with COVID in Queensland, where there's no lockdown. There's 2 people in hospital in Victoria.
And,
1, 2.
Now,
two.
And two of the positives that they had discovered in terms of false positives too. I think that lockdown's going to end sooner rather than later. Or let me phrase that another way. That should end sooner rather than later. Let's talk about a lockdown breach in South Australia. You might recall with our chat with the police media a couple of days ago, there was a woman who was arrested trying to run the border. They had to spike her tyres to stop her in the end.
This woman's as mad as a cat's snake.
Appeared in court in Berry yesterday before being arrested and before the border running escapade. She had released this video on social media.
I'm in Victoria. I'm going to leave today. Anyway, so I'm on the run. Just went in, and you know what they said? As soon as I walk in, they all have masks. They come up to me and say, "Oh, excuse me, you can't come in. You're not wearing a mask." I'm like, "Excuse me?" I said, "I don't wear a mask." Just seen someone I know. "Oh, I'm good. I'm good. How are you? You don't have to wear a mask." I had to post this today because it's actually really scary how many people wearing masks. Look at them all driving by. All wearing a mask, even in their car. Like what, that's going to save you from something? Please. So I'm going home now, and if they try to stop me at the border, I'll be saying the same thing.
Hope she wasn't on that Crows flight. Maybe that's the explanation. No, that woman over there just told us we didn't need to wear them.
Elspeth Hussey for 7 News has been covering the story. Elspeth, good morning. I don't know what you say after hearing that.
Morning, guys. Yeah, we clipped up that yesterday, and I mean, we were having a bit of a laugh, but it's also quite frightening that somebody could have those views. She, as you say, made this sort of dash across the border Wednesday afternoon. She posted that video from an on the run, quite fittingly, at Mildura on Wednesday afternoon, and then about an hour later tried to cross at Yamba. But oddly, she stopped for police. She chatted with them, they say, for several minutes, but wouldn't answer quite basic questions, and then just ran, sped off in her car, and it took them sort of a few k's to catch her with road spikes. So I said last night in the story, she's a South Australian resident. She's from Renmark. She was able to enter. It's really confusing as to why she ran. She was completely legally able to enter South Australia. So why she decided to run is unclear. There is that exemption for people who live in the sort of cross-border communities, and being in Renmark, that does count. So she doesn't have to quarantine, but she was in Mildura, which is outside of the 70K, so she may have had to quarantine, which could have been one of the reasons. But the video she posted online has obviously gone viral, I think you could say, and some of her supporters have been contacting us, telling us that she doesn't believe in COVID laws, and I'm just going to read you a little bit of what one of them has just sent to us. Celeste is a non-citizen, and she's been unlawfully taken and forced into a military court of Roman Admiralty jurisdiction. She's not a person, as a person comes from the word persona, which means mask. We are fully aware that the Commonwealth of Australia is under foreign military occupation, and Celeste stands as a native woman under common law. So that gives you a little bit of an insight into perhaps...
Well, based on that, Elspeth, I think she's going to be fine. That sounds to me pretty solid.
Answers to a higher authority.
Yeah. Yeah, a real embarrassing one for the police, this one.
Let's stuff that up.
Yeah, very unusual. So she did apply for bail in Berry Court yesterday, but it was refused. So she'll spend at least 2 weeks in the cells at Berry, and then she'll have a bail hearing in about 2 weeks' time. But yeah, that's 2 weeks away from her kids. She's got a couple of boys in Renmark, and she won't be coming home until she can have that bail hearing heard. So a very unusual one. But had a border breacher in a while, so she's definitely made her mark.
See, the sad thing is, like, the fact that she's going to be away from her kids, she's probably in her own addled brain got this idea that she's doing this because it's such a huge issue that she absolutely has to take a stand. You know, it's like a
she sees herself as a martyr.
Yeah, she's like a political prisoner.
Yeah, I mean, the video she posted went for about 7 minutes, and to be honest, a lot of it you couldn't make sense of, but she obviously seems quite passionate about masks not being legal and, you know, our rights being taken away. And so anyway, it's up on her Facebook page if anyone wants to have a full view. But yeah.
Elspeth, thank you for that. Appreciate it. Terrific report on 7 News last night. Elspeth Hussey for 7. Here's a little bit more of the video. I didn't even know being a cancer truther was a thing until this.
All I said was to him, I said, no, you don't. You just have to say you have a condition. He goes, oh, what? Do I have to say I have a respiratory disease? I said, no, that's your private information. You don't have to tell them anything. That's like walking down the street and having a banner on your head saying, I have cancer. You know? And cancer is just inflammation. That's what I believe out of what I've learned. Anyway.
That's what I believe. That's actually a phrase for our times because, and this is where that hardcore, tiny but significant minority of people in the sort of anti-vax, anti-science crowd, this idea that you can have an opinion about something, whereas other people deal in facts. Like, I mean, to say, well, this is what I think about cancer. It's like, well, you can think what you like, but you're completely full of crap.
They'll often say the same thing. Well, why don't you present both sides of the argument? Because it's not an argument.
Yeah. Well, it's like arguing about gravity.
Yeah.
Or the Earth being flat. It's like, well, you know, you might say the Earth is round. I just don't agree. It's like, all right. I might say if I hold my phone up in the air, it's going to go and land on my notepad.
Well, you would say that.
Yeah, I know. That's just my opinion. That's just like your opinion, man.
Oh, dear. 15 minutes to 9. Let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Get a great deal of 3 years free scheduled servicing on executive-driven vehicles. Dave Potter Honda.
At Houghton Lower North East Road, truck v embankment there. It's 1K before the Paracombe Road intersection. Salisbury Heights, a two-car smash at the Grove Way and Nicholas Avenue. That's on the down track and quite heavy delays there. Getting busy on the drive-in. Torrens Park inbound. Torrens Road, Greenshields Place to Wattle Street. And Kensington Park, the parade quite busy too. Glenburn Road to Portrush Road, that's city-bound. NAB Equipment Finance can help you make ideas more. Search NAB Equipment Finance today. NAB, more than money. T's and C's and letting criteria apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
On Tuesday, the ED at the Women's and Children's was dangerously overloaded. On 2 occasions, it reached 220% of its capacity. Children are waiting up to 8 hours to be treated. Some are taken home without being seen.
9 till 12 weekdays.
Nurses are regularly working double shifts of up to 17 hours. Nothing has been done.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
The Peter Shearer Menswear mid-year event is on now. Save up to 50%. Wool suits from $249.95. New season overcoats from $199. Shoes from just $99.95. And business shirts up to 50% off. Don't miss the Peter Shearer Menswear up to 50% off mid-year event. Peter Shearer Menswear, Rundle Mall, Glenelg, Mount Barker or petershearer.com.au. Peter Shearer Menswear. Always the brand with the brands.
Adelaide Cabaret Festival is here, June 11 to 26 at Adelaide Festival Centre. Book your tickets now for a spectacular program directed by Hollywood star cabaret royalty Alan Cumming. Adelaide Cabaret Festival will thrill you with song, comedy, art, magic, trivia and all sorts of cabaret delights. Warm up your winter and experience the best cabaret talent from across the country. Your banquet awaits. Book now at AdelaideCabaretFestival.com.au.
If the thought of this as a job drives you crazy, you might want a job like this. Here's Chris from ASIC Careers to tell you how.
Thanks, Rowie. ASIC Careers is growing, and we need more drivers to keep our promise of perfect service. So if you want a career that takes you places, get in touch with ASIC Couriers. Don't send it, ace it.
This week's specials at Foodland. Pepsi Solar War Sunkist 1.25 litre. Refreshingly half price, just $1.30. Pringles chips 134 grams. Snack on this half price saving, only $2. And Bega Tasty Cheese 1 kilo. Cheese to please, just $9.90. Till June 8th, while stocks last.
Great food lives here, Foodland, the mighty South Aussies, yeah.
It's end of financial year already, and we're celebrating at You Install It Kitchens by giving you a massive 20% off everything. You Install It Kitchens offer quality South Australian-made do-it-yourself kitchens at a price that fits your budget, especially this month. Take advantage of our 20% off sale. It's for a limited time only, so head into one of our showrooms today, Modbury, Churchill, Glandore, Norwood and Lonsdale, or visit our Design Hub and 3D Kitchen Planner online. You Install It Kitchens, the complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. Buy 3, get 1 free on top tyre brands. Visit bobjane.com.au. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
11 to 9. Behind closed doors coming up in a moment. We're giving away a meat tray, of course, too, thanks to Gauchos. Had a lot of fun talking about your go-to karaoke tune this morning. In fact, let's read a couple of texts on the Telstra Storm Mount Barker text line.
We have got a lot of texts. We've got quite a few texts about the segment we just did with Elspeth about the woman appearing in court in Berry. I got a text from my wife in relation to saying I'd sell the house if the Tokyo Games go ahead, emphatically saying that if I do that, it's going to be all over Red Rover. Ben says he doesn't like the way everyone wants to sing 5,000 Miles by the Proclaimers when you go to karaoke. Fair enough. Tessa in Paraka says, I know it sounds funny, but I just can't stand the pain, which is a reference to her singing Faith No More's Easy and also the audience's response to her singing it. Graham in Tennyson says he likes to sing Am I Ever Going to See Your Face Again by the Angels, always fraught with risk.
Yes.
When the inevitable
Can't
sing-along.
Can't allow that one to come on the air.
And Rob points out a bit of a glaring omission. He says, guys, I can't believe that Gloria Gaynor's I Will Survive hasn't rated a mention yet. Good song. Along with Charlene's I've Never Been to Me. That's a cracker. It's got the spoken word bit. If you do that, you really, get an extra gold star to your name, I think.
Now, you've been very concerned all morning that you're going to feature in Behind Closed Doors today, haven't you?
Yes.
You've been on sort of white-knuckle stuff.
Yeah.
I think you're safe.
Oh, excellent.
Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64. Here's Behind Closed Doors.
And when we get behind closed...
13.95, Adelaide's 5AA. This is Tony Pilkington.
Yeah, hello everybody. Welcome to this afternoon thing we do of an afternoon. I heard Emily Kirkpatrick, the Deputy Chief Public Health Officer, with David and Wills this morning when she's talking about the football and the fact that Nicola Spurrier said you shouldn't touch the ball if you don't mind if it comes towards you during a game at Adelaide Oval when Collingwood come over here and take on the Power, which is strange considering they played them 2 weeks ago, but I think they've rearranged the fixture. The best idea is the one that my producer Josh Sampson, who said what you should do if the Power's in front, grab the ball and punch a hole in it, and then they'll have to call the game off, and whoever's in front wins. And let's face it, that'll be the Power, which is strange considering they've got the bye this week. But then Collingwood will have to go back to Victoria along with Eddie Maguire, even though Eddie probably won't be here because he's not part of the club anymore, and Victoria's got a lockdown. Alrighty, coming up in the show a little bit later on, not sure what time, but we'll be looking forward to Josh telling me that Collingwood are actually playing the Crows. Alrighty, if you've got an opinion on whether Collingwood should have got an exemption to come over here, we'd love to hear from you.
It's bye week. Funny things happen to the fixture, don't they? It's tough to keep across. the changes.
Tough to keep across where the games are being played. So do you reckon, do you think the Vics are going to lift the lockdown today?
Oh, no, I don't think they've already had a press conference this morning where they talked about their joint quarantine facility. I just think
the problem has become now less a matter of logic than a matter of political pride for them?
Yeah, but I think
that if they said, you know what, we're just going to stop it.
I'm not reporting this. I don't know this. But my sense is having false positives gives you political cover. You can say, well, we were making decisions on keeping people safe on the best information we had at the time. We're delighted that we found out that these things weren't what we feared, and it means that it has been more controlled than we'd expected. I think it gives you that opportunity.
Yeah.
So that's some good news. It doesn't have the appearance to date of being an out of control, well, we're going to get up to 100 cases style scenario there.
No.
In fact, it looks like much more in keeping with the sorts of small, limited and well-contained outbreaks that we've had a number of.
Which begs the question, is this the last time they're going to go down that path of ripping $1 billion out of the economy and jeopardising everyone's jobs again and forcing the feds to step in and match with bailout money? Like, can someone just sit down with Gladys Berejiklian and say, what's your secret?
Yep. It can't be your first... It's a lever you've got at your disposal, but it can't be the first one you pull at the first sign of trouble, which has been the New South Wales approach. Let's wait and see.
Yep.
We'll be responsible, lockdown areas. Victoria, the whole state, the western border. I mean, seriously.
If you want to read something really good today, and I would read, if someone asked this bloke to write the history of roundabout design in the Australian road system, I would buy the book. Gideon Haigh.
Great writer.
Oh, he's just the best writer in Australia by the length of the straight. He's written a first-person piece as a dad about what it's actually like trying to homeschool your kids in Victoria, and he's just erupted about how the headline on the article is that the people who are actually suffering the most from this lockdown are the young in so many ways, and it's an excellent piece of writing.
Hayley in Clapham's called in with a Meat Tray Friday entry. Chance late to steal the Gaucho's Meat Tray, featuring their fantastic sauces and the meat you know and love from the wonderful Gaucho's restaurant. Hayley, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, look, I pick anything Dolly Parton. But my husband and I do a mean Islands in the Stream duet.
Oh,
excellent.
Did you come late to the duet in your relationship, Hayley, or did you realise straight away that you could make musical magic?
It's kind of why I married him. We also do a mean Queen Mr. Fahrenheit together, which is a bit embarrassing.
It's a bit why you married him.
Is that
the power of the
Don't
duet.
Stop Me Now, that song?
Yeah, Don't Stop Me Now. Mhm.
Oh, Hayley, I reckon that's a great call.
Any other duets? Have you ever done You Don't Bring Me Flowers?
No, never that one, but we do Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
Oh, yeah. That's the first caller today was Ange in Kidman Park, and him and his wife, on their first date, Ange said, Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
I really like that call. Let's go to Di in Seaford Meadows. Di, good morning.
Are you there, Di?
Di.
I think we've lost Di.
Di.
Sorry, Di.
Maybe it's D.
No, it's D-I.
No, okay, it's just not there. 4 to 9. We're going to award the meat tray just a moment.
Great business starts when you're in control. With the Optus Business Connect plan, get up to 8 SIMs and up to 300 gig of data, all on one simple plan. Great business starts with yes. Explore the Optus Business Connect plan in-store or online today. T's and C's apply.
If you're 50 and over, like me, you are eligible to get vaccinated against COVID-19. Vaccination is the best way to protect yourself and your loved ones. Book now at your local GP, respiratory clinic, or at one of our new vaccination clinics across Metro and Regional SA. Locations include Wavell Showgrounds, the Women's and Children's Hospital, Noarlunga and Elizabeth, with more clinics opening soon. To book, visit covidvaccine.sa.gov.au.
A message from the Government of South Australia.
Now, David, this is important notice. Time is running out in the Hospital Research Foundation home lottery. Just 2 weeks, I repeat, just 2 weeks until the Porsche Taycan early bird deadline.
What about that? Now, look, you could be making the choice between a 2021 Porsche Taycan Turbo or $300,000 cash to spend however you like if you get your tickets before June 18.
Plus, your tickets stay in more than 15,000 draws, giving you a 1 in 15 chance to win a prize. That includes the South Brighton Grand Prize, which is, of course, the beautiful Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade, and $1 million in cash. That makes it a $3.5 $1.4 million grand prize.
Staggering. But most importantly, proceeds from the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery benefit all South Australians finding cures and improving care in our hospitals. Get your tickets at homelottery.com.au.
Here at FIVEaa, we're all about supporting local. Holiday here this year and choose great South Australian hotels. Find things to do, places to see, and our latest hotel offers at saweekendescapes.com.au.
G'day, Rocco Lambrusco here in the City Traffic Chopper. Tonight I'll be eating an avocado smash westbound on Victoria Road. That's it from me in the chopper, back to you. Order with Uber Eats tonight.
Get up to $100 instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
70 seconds from 9 o'clock, Leon after 9. We're going to award a meat tray to the best caller of the morning. I think we've just got the best text of the week, though, David, on the Telstra Stormount Barker text line.
This text is both deeply uncharitable and completely hilarious. He says, hey, we could get that nut from Renmark to throw the ball back in at Adelaide Oval tomorrow.
I think it's...
Well, there's no COVID, the whole thing's a hoax.
It's a natural role to play, isn't it?
That's right, doesn't matter who's touched it.
We could have ball kids working Adelaide Oval that are all COVID deniers.
That's right. Get all the QAnon people, and you can have like the blue coats, like my mate Judy out there helping people get into the lift and all that, and then you can have the people with the Q on their back saying there's no COVID. I'll get the ball for you.
All right, here's our Meat Tray Friday winner.
Such a good part of the world.
Yeah.
It's pretty.
Andrew in Prospect has a Meat Tray Friday entry. Andrew, what's your go-to karaoke tune?
I thought I'd been in love so many times. I thought I knew the score. But this time I've got it wrong. I can't love anymore. And this time I'm never gonna fall in love again.
Hey, Andrew.
He's still going. You won't shut up.
In love, I'm never gonna fall in love.
I think he's still singing, Andrew.
He
and
is.
if he's just broken song for a moment long enough, he's won himself a meat tray. I think a special shout out to Hayley and Clapham. I love that call. If you got married because of a karaoke duet, you're stiff not to have won. But Andrew literally just sung through the morning.
He did. And look, he encapsulated the karaoke ethos, which is a lethal combination of being not brilliant and having a massive go. He was
Exactly
unstoppable.
right.
And that's exactly what karaoke's all about. Have a great weekend, everybody. And we'll see you again next week. Thanks to Gauchos.
To play us out, David Penberthy, Wuthering Heights.
It's me, so go, let me go and go. It's me, come on, so go, let me go.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395